What is going on, guys? Welcome to another installment of Honest and Uneducated, the show where we talk about anything from movies, movie news, video games, comic books, all sorts of fun stuff like that. Don't forget, guys, you can email us at honestanduneducated@gmail.com, honestanduneducated@gmail.com. Submit topics, questions, whatever it is. We'll cover it on the show. Maybe just, I don't know, we'll respond to you in some way. Just email us over there. Don't forget, too, before we get into everything, if you don't have time to watch this on YouTube or whatever, this is obviously where it normally goes, up on YouTube, but I do upload all the episodes up on podcast forums, so check iTunes, Spotify, whatever podcast platform you use. Don't forget to like and subscribe, obviously, if you enjoy the content. But let's get into the show. Joining me today is none other than Rik Metz. How you doing today?
Doing quite well. How are you?
I'm great. I'm not doing too bad.
Yep.
You know, we got a lot of news to talk about here.
I was going to say we got a lot.
Yeah, excited to get into it.
Yep.
We also got Mr. John Knight here. How you doing, John?
I'm good, man. Good to see everybody. I'm a little jealous. I gotta get my background sorted out here. I need to add some more guys. You guys each have a fun figure in your background that I'm missing. So,
well, I was thinking about switch. I got the Boos on both sides right now. I don't know if you can see both of them, but I got Kid Boo here behind this, and then Big Boo over there, right? And I was thinking about just I don't know, changing it out every once in a while. Maybe even in between segments, it'll just change to a different one, different statue of some sort. My only hesitation was the fact that I would run out of room in here, because I'd all have to bring them out here.
Yeah,
so I didn't
seriously
really want to do that, but I don't know, a little something. But let's get into our first topic here, just because we got a lot of stuff here to cover, and the first thing that we're going to go over here today, guys, is just like last week. There was a bunch of news about Jamie Foxx's Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2 coming into the MCU Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland in some way. Still kind of unclear if it's going to be a different version of Electro played by the same person, or is it going to be the same, the same exact character moved over. The details are a little unclear at this point in time, but we've had some more news and developments come out as of late here with the Tom Holland Spider-Man 3 movie in general, and that is Benedict Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch himself is Doctor Strange is reprising his role as Doctor Strange in the Spider-Man movie. So we kind of talked about this last week. In some ways, if Jamie Foxx, his presence being there, if Spider-Man 3 was going to tie more into the Doctor Strange movie in some way, or if the Doctor Strange movie was, because I guess we're still kind of unclear on the release order of a lot of the MCU stuff going forward now, but we kind of tossed around the idea of, well, maybe Multiverse of Madness happens in the second Doctor Strange movie, and then the events from that bleed over into Spider-Man 3 in some capacity. And with Spider-Man joining, or no, with Doctor Strange joining Spider-Man 3 now, it seems like that could very well exactly be what they're going for. But
that makes sense.
Yeah, but there also is precedent for Doctor Strange to kind of, have him and Spider-Man have had their team ups in the comics, outside of it being multiverse related necessarily. So, I guess my initial, when I first hear this, I'm thinking the multiverse has to be included in some way. It would, and somehow maybe not necessarily Multiverse Madness directly connects with it, but at least the multiverse stuff, I feel like with Doctor Strange being here makes a lot more sense as to why Jamie Foxx is here now. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think? You guys got any thoughts?
That would make sense, but to me, the more I think about it, I don't think they're going to bring back the same Electro, whether it be multiverse or not. I think it's just kind of like a redemption almost, new character, same actor. That's just me, but
it could be. Could be.
I'm excited. I liked their interaction in Infinity War, and they didn't have much of an interaction in Endgame, I don't believe. But it's interesting to me. The report, I didn't read this particular one, but the report I read said that Doctor Strange is going to play sort of a mentor type role to Spider-Man, and I kind of thought that's what Tony did. I kind of thought Tony left him in a good spot. I'm not really sure that that Peter needs another mentor, but you know, maybe it worked so well in the first two that they felt that they needed to continue that. I don't know.
Well, and that's another kind of thing too, and because a lot of people have complained about, myself sort of included, not 100%. Like I like the first, I liked Homecoming and Far From Home and everything, but one of the detractors, in my opinion, and and a lot of the fan community out there too, was kind of not that Tony had too much of a role because he really wasn't in like Homecoming all that much, but like Vulture was a product of, the villains have all been like people who were mad at Tony, so now they're mad at Spider-Man. Is kind of how
Yeah.
it's felt, with both of them being ex Tony Stark employees, and they're mad, and Spider-Man's in the
A
way.
lot of anger.
Huh?
A lot of anger towards Tony Stark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with reason. Tony Stark
Yeah.
was kind of a dick at times, so I mean, it totally makes sense.
I can see
But
that.
that's kind of one of with the mentor thing coming into play. I worry that maybe they're gonna do a similar thing with it, like not because I like the interaction that him and like Peter and Tony had. I liked them having that like mentor tutor pupil, as Doctor Strange said, the ward. Like, what is this, your ward? And that's what he says in Infinity War. Where they're talking. It was funny. But like I like it, but I don't want them to. I don't want them just to be like copy pasting a different person to be like a mentor father kind of figure to Peter. When
Yeah.
it's like, at some point, when is it just gonna be Tom Holland Spider-Man story?
Not being mentored or
Yeah,
anything,
like
just like straight up Spider-Man.
at what point can this dude with incredible intelligence and super strength on his own have a movie to himself?
Yeah.
Because
Like, I don't feel like you necessarily need somebody else to carry him at this point,
yeah,
or even like supplement him for that matter. But
and not that that's what they're doing, and that's not that like they didn't like totally do that with Tony, but I mean, even so, like one could argue like the suits were a little bit overboard. Like those weren't really like Spider-Man suits. Like they were
Yeah.
pretty much mini Iron Man suits.
they really were.
So Spider-Man going to start practicing the mystical arts in this one? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
go
That'd be
in the
interesting.
Tony role. Tony provided him with the suit. Is Doctor Strange going to provide him with some gauntlets or something to help him out with his magic? It's just, yeah, it becomes
That's my
a
worry.
little, yeah.
It's like,
No,
is
I
he
have the
gonna
same concern.
he gonna put on the cloak levitation or whatever, start using the Eye of Agamotto? Like I know it's like the eyes is like gone now at this point, but like either
Yeah.
way, like I just don't want that to be like the thing. Like Spider-Man is cool enough on his own, guys. And, like of all the people who should know that Spider-Man's cool enough on his own is Marvel. So I don't really understand why.
Yeah.
It's like
seriously.
Spider-Man hasn't needed Tony to be a good character. Like
Really hope that somebody is, whatever report I had heard or read was overestimating Doctor Strange's role, and that maybe that mentor is more like a guide because Spidey for some reason has to jump into the multiverse. Maybe that's the
Right.
introduction of the multiverse,
true.
as they kind of hinted at it last movie. For some reason, Spidey has to hop into it, and he's more a guide rather than a mentor, teaching him how to be a hero or whatever. Because I think Spidey can stand on his own now.
Yeah. And there is sort of a logical leap. I think I mentioned this last week when we were talking about the possible tie-in, like because Mysterio in Far From Home made up like fake multiverse stuff.
Yeah.
So there is like a little leaping off point to actually tie everything into the real multiverse, with
Yeah.
including Doctor Strange and everything, who like legit knows, and like now everyone knows too, because that's how Far From Home kind of was able to like do the fake multiverse stuff, is because like Infinity War Endgame kind of stuff, so like it was all believable thing. So
Yeah.
at this point, no, it's Bible, and it seems like a good jumping off point. I just don't want, my only fear, like again, is just the mentor stuff and the Spider-Man. Like I'm fine with like Doctor Strange is one of my favorite characters, just like bar none, regardless. And I love Benedict Cumberbatch as an actor, so like I'm more him. I'm fine with like pretty much how everybody always felt about more Tony. Like just like, oh, just have him pop up in anything. He's great.
Yeah. That's
I
how it
feel the
was.
same way about Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange is cooler than Tony Stark, though. Personal opinion.
I think so too. Like when in the grand scheme of things,
I mean, his
a lot of
powers
people are
pretty
cooler. Yeah,
his-
most people are cooler than Iron Man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Iron Man's like all flash. He's
Iron
got cool
Man was
suits.
literally a C-class hero before these movies came out.
That's
No
true.
one cared about Iron Man. No, no one.
Yeah.
He was a glorified Batman.
He really
what
was.
Iron
He
Man
was like Marvel Batman.
but just the opposite of Bruce Wayne. Like instead of being dark and tragic, he was literally the playboy philanthropist. You know, just like the other side of the coin. Like it's like if Bruce Wayne, the mask of Bruce Wayne, decided to also be a superhero. There you go. That's pretty much like probably how they had the conception. If I had to.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it either way, though. So I there's still question marks everywhere for the Mysterio stuff. I imagine, to me, Doctor Strange being involved, it almost like kind of confirms it's going to be multiverse related in my mind. Whether or not that's going to be true, I don't know. The one thing too, before we move on, and just because I happen to look down, because Sam Raimi is supposed to be attached to direct the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness movie. Sam Raimi, who directed the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. I saw a report somewhere that Sam Raimi was also rumored to be attached to direct the Spider-Man 3 movie. Which,
Really?
if that is true, which I don't know. It wasn't from a substantiated source. It was just one of those spaghetti on the wall things. But just like the spaghetti on the wall things, sometimes they stick. You know, sometimes some of them noodles they stick there.
I was going to say they probably stick pretty well.
Yeah, some will, some fall, some stay. You know? So if that's the case, though, it would make a lot of sense for him to do the Multiverse of Madness, set up the whole multiverse kind of stuff, and then if that does in fact bleed over into Spider-Man 3, which is kind of what I'm guessing is going to happen now, that kind of goes hand in hand. You know what I mean? It kind of works out even better.
Well, the other part of this that would work better. I'm also curious if this isn't Marvel hedging their bets against how much longer they're going to be able to make Spider-Man movies and doing as much crossover as they can while they have the opportunity to.
It's true.
I don't know what the latest deal is. I mean, as far as I know, the latest deal between Marvel and Sony was that they'll make another Spider-Man movie, and I'm assuming that Spider-Man will be usable in another Avengers type film. But beyond that, I don't know what's left. Hopefully that they don't this doesn't break apart for years and decades down the road, or however long they allow Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland to play the role. But I also wonder if Marvel's not kind of like, well, we may not get an opportunity to put another Marvel hero in. Let's throw Doctor Strange in while we can.
Well, with that too, I mean, that's totally up in the air as far as the deal goes at this point. Like, we don't know, because it's all bets are kind of off now, in my opinion, with them bringing back Jamie Foxx, because it kind of opens up a whole can of worms. Because, like we said before, in the Morbius trailer, which is a Sony Marvel movie, not an MCU movie, a Sony Marvel movie, the Morbius trailer with Jared Leto, it showed Michael Keaton's Vulture character at the end of it, and there was the painting of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So again, it's like if they only have a limited time deal, because like we don't know, details are unknown about the exact details of the deal. But like if all of a sudden now they're crossing over the MCU stuff directly into the Sonyverse stuff, like I don't know, it just brings up a lot more questions. Like especially Jamie Foxx coming back only brings in more questions to it, because like you're saying, if this deal is going to be like limited, then you'd think that Marvel would be separating Spider-Man, like not wanting like doing his own thing. Like they would be setting that up so Sony could take him back if that's where they were going. Like to me, with them bringing back Jamie Foxx and doing another crossover with Doctor Strange and him in it, and then now they're letting Michael Keaton be in the Morbius movie and like all these things, it almost seems like they're both going all in.
Yeah.
Like they're like, which in my opinion is a smarter way to go about it, because like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if the MCU is working, Sony should kind of like they should both be working with each other. Like Sony should like let Kevin Feige and the MCU have a little bit more creative control over those Sony characters since what they're doing with their comic book heroes is really working. Not that Sony's isn't working, but they have had I mean, they've had some sinkers with their Spider-Man stuff before. So if the MCU stuff's working, why not just let it keep working?
Yeah,
That's kind of,
seriously.
you know what I mean?
MCU's been like a huge success too.
I mean,
Sure.
everyone's been trying to copy the MCU since Avengers.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's been, and they haven't had a real miss. Like even their like misses really haven't been like
What would you even consider a miss? Like they've all been super successful.
financially speaking, they haven't really had a huge miss. Like you know what I
Even
mean? Like,
popularity wise, I mean, like all of the movies were well received. I would say.
yeah, I mean, they all average out like $1 billion. Like, obviously, some do more than others. Like, I think Ant-Man is one of the lower making franchises,
That makes sense.
but it's still successful.
Yeah.
It's like it still makes profit.
Ant-Man, for crying out loud. They have a successful Ant-Man movie, a movie
I
about
mean,
a
yeah.
guy who controls ants. I mean,
And it's honestly one of the better ones. It's
it
one
is.
of the better
It's great.
ones. Like
It's phenomenal.
yeah.
But it's still, we're talking about Ant-Man here. I mean, like, come on, you don't get much more C-list than Ant-Man.
It's true, man. Like that's the thing too. Like a lot of people don't understand too is like the Avengers themselves were like a B team. They weren't They weren't the Justice League. Dude. They weren't the X-Men. They weren't
No,
the
the X-
Fantastic Four. Like the Avengers were like they were the C team, man. Like you know what I mean? It was like you'd go with the X-Men, you'd go with Fantastic Four, and then you had the Avengers there. But the MCU leaned into that, and everybody loves the Avengers now. Like, so
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well, because
kinda
I mean,
crazy.
it's ironic. I don't know if ironic. I think it's the right word. It's a little ironic because they were forced to do that. They had sold off the rights to all those
Yeah,
other
that's
characters, so
true.
they were kind of forced to hobble together their own thing, and that's what they had left were the Avengers. Real quick, I've got so based off of this article I'm looking at real quick. It was published September 24th. Spider-Man sequel comes out December 17th, 2021. Right now is scheduled for December 17th, 2021. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is scheduled for March 25th, 2022. So you'd see Spider-Man and then you'd see Doctor Strange. So maybe shenanigans from Spider-Man lead to the multiverse being in madness. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's still it would no matter which way you put it, it's still kind of like I feel like Doctor Strange being there and Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2 being there in some capacity, whether it's a different Electro or not, it's the same guy playing him. So like
Sure.
that makes it too in my opinion, that makes it even more confusing if you're going to say,
Mm.
"Oh, no, it's a different guy." It's like literally having Benedict Cucumberman show up in another Marvel movie and he's playing John Smith. It's like, "No, that's
Well, have
Doctor
you ever
Strange." Like, "No, I'm John Smith."
Have you ever
Right.
seen other movies do that though, where they carry over a character like that with the same actor and everything? And I mean, like, never really heard of that.
I mean, I'm sure it's happened before. Off the top of my head, I don't know, but on the scale of something like this, I don't think so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because it would literally be like in Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, Viggo Mortensen's now playing Legolas. Like, it's like,
Yeah,
but he's
same
also
actor.
Aragorn.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, no, he's Aragorn. Like,
Yeah.
like he can't be Legolas. He's already Aragorn. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's. And that's the thing, like the general audience, everyone likes to complain about the general audience too confusing and stuff. And I'm telling you, it's more confusing for anybody to have the same guy play the same character, but he's different.
Yeah.
Like me saying that right now is confusing.
It
Same
is
guy,
confusing.
same character, but he's different.
Same, but
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, it's all the same, but it's not the same. That's confusing as shit. Like it's like you can make his lightning yellow, and that doesn't change the fact that it's Jamie Foxx, Electro.
Well, maybe Benadryl Cumberbatch will do something like you were saying, and
Yeah, who knows? Like, I mean, they could if they could easily explain it, and like if it's a multiverse thing, and it's just like Electro from another world, like is now here, or maybe it's just I don't know. If they want to connect the because another option they could have too is that it's just leaning into the Spider-Verse stuff. If they just lean into strictly Spider-Verse stuff, then Andrew Garfield's Electro and everything, or Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Electro in it, could be its own version of a Spider-Verse, and then meaning that Jamie Foxx in Tom Holland's world would still be Electro. You know what I mean? In
Yeah.
some way. Because that's how sometimes, like, you know, with when you do the multiple universe stuff, some people look different. Some people are exact, you know, duplicates of themselves, but have slight differences. You know, you could lean into that. But like I said, that's still confusing.
Yeah.
It's still confusing. Like, so I don't know. The question is, guys, what do you think? Do you think with Benedict Cucumber Man joining Spider-Man 3, does that have more implications? That it's going to be Jamie Foxx and multiverse stuff or Spider-Verse stuff, whatever it is. You let us know down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our next topic is going to be jumping over into the world of the DC. I don't know if it's EU or DC Universe. Let's call it DC Universe on HBO Max. I guess we'll call it that because the long-awaited Green Lantern series has officially gotten its green light for HBO Max. There's a little bit of interesting news with this though, guys. That I don't know really how I feel about it. So I'm gonna talk it over with you guys because we haven't really talked about this like at all. So and for everyone else out there too, you would think the series of Green Lantern would focus on, you know, the popular Green Lantern character, maybe a Hal Jordan, maybe a John Stewart. You know, maybe you would assume. But according to this article, it's on Deadline. It's going to be focusing on a multitude of Green Lanterns, including Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz, Simon Baz, and Alan Scott. Now, Alan Scott, like the article even says, like, yeah, he was the first Green Lantern, but like,
did that take place like a long time ago though?
yeah, it was like
1940. You're talking 1940s.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Silver Age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was golden age. Yeah, rather.
That's
Silver
crazy
Age
too because of like his
stuff.
technology and stuff. People were like, "What?"
Well, I like Alan Scott too because like he has a cool suit. He wears a cape, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
I remember seeing.
he's
Yeah,
jailed
he
with
looks
cape.
like.
His weakness was wood back in the day.
What?
Not yellow, which was the common Green Lantern color weakness.
Yeah,
but wood. So
wood.
Yeah.
Well, and Green Lantern used to just be like a side guy for Green Arrow too, if I'm not mistaken. Right, his first appearance was in Green Arrow comic, right? Or did like later on he started showing up?
Later on, they did a team. Like there was a very popular run in the 70s between Neil Adams and the name of the author is escaping me right now, but it was called Hard Traveling Heroes, where Green Lantern and Green Arrow teamed up and kind of did this cross country tour and like there were a lot of social issues, racism, other things that came up that they addressed on this.
Didn't they do something with like drug addiction too at some point with that?
They did.
That's what I'm thinking.
Green Arrow's sidekick Speedy was addicted to heroin.
Yeah.
And that all came
weird
about.
that somebody named Speedy would be addicted to that. But
yeah, you'd think it'd be something else.
Little on the nose there. DC.
Yeah, I was thinking you were going to say something else, but
yeah,
I digress.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, he has a long history with Green Arrow,
right?
But he's also been he was 1940s. Jake Garrett's the Flash. 1940s. Alan Scott was Green Lantern, whose weakness was wood.
That's so weird.
And he was part of the Justice Society of America. And
so wait a minute.
You can take a 2x4.
Give me a second. I'm sorry. Give me a second to compose. So you're saying right now, I don't know how this didn't come to my head sooner. Alan Scott's a gay man, and his weakness is wood.
Okay.
This is what they were writing.
He's only been gay he's only been gay the past decade or so. So that's
be that as it may. That's a deep cut right there.
Even aside, I mean, like, could you just take like a 2x4 to the guy and like,
yeah, right. like step back. I'm in a lumber yard, my dude.
That's what I'm saying. Meet me at the lumber
Your
yard.
galactic powers of green energy do nothing to my wood.
Yeah,
my strong
wood. Where birch or something.
It was a very very odd weakness to give him, but hey, it was the 40s. It was an odd time.
Dude can't go much of anywhere then. He can't go in the woods.
Like, yeah, and you got to think back then. A lot of stuff was made out of wood. I mean, you couldn't even open your damn dresser.
He can't go in house. How weak is this? Like Kryptonite week? Like How's it?
So, like, yeah, I mean,
That
like,
makes no sense.
basically Vampire Week. Like, you stake him, you're going to get through his force shield. Like, if he tries to block
Okay,
something, if
so
you shoot a wooden bullet at him,
the
he's got
green,
some issues.
the lantern energy was weak. This is why John's reinventing Green Lantern was this. Okay, this is why. See what they were doing before that with Green Lantern? And, like, no offense, but they didn't know what the hell they were doing with these characters. It makes no sense. But my main thing is with this, back to this show, and kind of like I was saying before, you'd think that they would use the the Hal Jordan or the John Stewart, because I think we may have touched on it before when the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie came out. In my mind, it was a mistake to have it be Hal Jordan because John Stewart at that time was the more popularized Green Lantern. So I feel like a lot of people, when that movie came out and they saw Ryan Reynolds playing Green Lantern, they were already kind of confused because everybody's Green Lantern at that point in time, especially for kids who were watching the Justice League, the animated series and everything, like John Stewart was their Green Lantern, and he was a main Green Lantern at the time, just pretty much in general. So I don't know. I just find it kind of odd that they would spend who knows how much money on this show, because I imagine, I mean, this is a Green Lantern show. They're going to be focusing on multiple Green Lanterns, which theoretically speaking means you're going to have a lot more effects to some capacity. So I don't know how it makes a whole lot of sense, in my mind at least, for them to focus on the lesser known Green Lantern on such an expensive show. Like, I feel like they should, like, I would definitely would love to see the other Green Lanterns that are less popularized, of course, but I don't think for the show it's a very good idea, because like Green Lantern itself
People,
isn't.
your average fan isn't really going to like understand it. I don't know. I can be
Like,
wrong.
I'm a little torn. I completely agree that it's hard to market and promote a show when when people don't see the heroes that they recognize. When
Yeah.
people don't see a Jon Stewart or um, Hal Jordan in it.
Be like, yeah.
it's like they're doing the spin-off before the main show.
Sure. But on the other hand, if this is going to be a Green Lantern core show where they are focusing on the core as a whole and multiple characters and not really having a lead protagonist, then having Hal or John be part of the group, you'd fall into that trap of just making the show about them and not
That's true.
giving every character equal play, or at least taking the time to focus and get everybody their own character development. Instead of it having be the Hal Jordan Green Lantern show, it truly can be the Green Lantern core, because
That's a good point.
people don't have as much invested in these maybe ancillary characters.
Well, and eventually they will be, depending on how the show goes and
Sure.
everything like that. It brings more light and popularity to like other characters that have been Green Lanterns.
Sure. My biggest concern is, how are they going to explain why John and Hal aren't there? And are they going to, like, is it going to be again, we've talked about in previous episodes where, they allude to Batman in Smallville episodes, but they never say the name Bruce Wayne, or they never say the name Batman. And you have these very weird, forced in jokes that they leave for the audience. I just hope that they don't do that. I hope they have some reasonable explanation for why they're not there, or at least bring them in later on. I don't know.
Right, that's the thing too, because I totally understand and like what you're saying. I just feel like you could easily write it in a way to where, like, you're like, they're in the show, they're like, quote unquote, like, you could make them the main characters, and it could just be. I mean, in the end, I would have much rather preferred like an older Hal Jordan, and then Jon Stewart gets his ring, and it's like a buddy cop Lethal Weapon kind of thing with Hal Jordan showing Jon Stewart the ropes. That's where I wanted it to go. And then have the other guys there as well. Like, have your Guy Gardner, have them all there, and they all do their thing. Because you can set up, if you want to focus on, the more ancillary lanterns, you can easily set that kind of thing up where Hal and John have to go do X mission, and now like the other guys have to go do this mission, and like they're both on you separate them, you tell like a 2-arc story for each one, what they're doing. Like, You could easily have done it that way. Probably how I would prefer it being done. Like I said, at this point, I just don't think it's a good idea for the show, like marketing wise. Like it could still be a
Sure.
great show. It's just
I mean, the idea of the Green Lantern's pretty popular. People know what that is.
it's
you
not
know.
though, because no one went to see that fucking movie.
Really?
Like Green Lantern's
Yeah,
not a big popular character.
but if Green
We
Lantern
love him.
shows
Like
if Green Lantern shows up in Snyder's Justice League cut, and that's as successful as they kind of, I think, are hoping it will be, that might drive people to keep that subscription and stick around for the Yeah, also, like, I mean, if they get this show going, when Snyder Cut drops, they could put a tease for the Green Lantern show at the end of each of those episodes, each of the or parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the Snyder Cut.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They could throw a little tease on there for the Green Lantern show that's coming up. So they could definitely spin that popularity of the Snyder Cut into this. Whether or not they connect them canon wise, I don't know.
That's all gonna be up in the air. Like that's the thing. I want the show to be good. I love Green Lantern. Like we all like. I'm sure all of us here are perfectly fine watching a Green
I love
Lantern
Green
show
Lantern.
that focuses on the more ancillary ones because we're all, for the most part, the best Green Lantern stories have indeed already been told, like in some form or another. So like I guess I don't really need to see all these things happen just in a live action setting. You know what I mean? So like it's fine. I just want a good show in the end. I just the way the networks work, people need to be watching the show in order
Yeah.
for it to be a successful show. And if they're going to spend this much money on it, I assume, like I said, they can't just for this big of an effects heavy show. They're going to have to put some money into it. Like some
There is going to be a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of effects. It's going to be
yeah,
very.
it's going to have to be some Game of Thrones level money. Like maybe
Yep.
not 20 million per episode, but like 10
10.
10 million.
That's
like,
crazy.
And like maybe that's why they went with the more unknown cast because
That's a big risk to take.
Unknown actors.
I mean, that's a
Yeah.
big risk to take if you're dealing with an unknown cast spending that much money on per episode or whatever. I mean, they must have a good story behind it or something. You know, it's just.
I mean, they've had. See, what I would like to see them do since they're actually doing this. This is what I hope. What I hope in some way, and this would be cool. I think it would be cool. As I've thought about it right now, within the last 2 seconds, it sounds cool in my head. You have these other guys, like all the ancillary lanterns here, right? Maybe something like the show starts with like Hal and John, lanterns we know they get like captured, caught, or they're missing, and it's like a mystery, and the Green Lanterns are like figuring out
Yeah, they've got to
where
figure
they
it out.
are, what they're
Yeah.
doing. You know, like they just disappear. Maybe there's more cataclysmic events. You know, who knows? Maybe they'll have Red Lanterns in there, like who knows? Because that's the other thing.
Black
It's
Lanterns.
not just Green Lanterns. Like if they want to go, like this could be like very, very, very effects heavy. If they want to go like Lantern War kind of stuff, and like you got reds, you got oranges, you got blues. Like you got all. They do Blackest Night at some point if this thing's successful. Like you never know. Like it could really go anywhere.
You get me too excited, man. You don't get my hopes up, man.
Right. Well, it's got to be good.
If I get Sinestro Corps War in a live action Darkest Night, oh man, Blackest Night. Oh,
That'd be crazy. I mean, like if it's good though, we could get that. I mean, you kind of
Oh,
have,
sure.
have Hal and them to do it.
Yeah.
I guess you don't. You could work way around it, I guess, movie magic, but I don't. I have my hesitations. I feel like in my opinion, I'm still sticking to the fact that I don't think doing something this big without the people you know is the best way to go. You know what I mean? That's
True.
kind of my main. That's the perfect example is the X-Men. When they made those X-Men movies, they put Wolverine in it because he was the most popular person.
Yeah.
He was inevitably in the X-Men. He wasn't a big major character in the comics, really, a part of the core team, like at the time. But he became a popular X-Men related character. So X-Men was front and center, or Wolverine was front and center in all those X-Men movies because he was what was popular at the time for the X-Men. So like, and that's why Cyclops took a back seat in all those movies. Like, the leader of the team was not the leader of the team in those movies, just due to popularity. Which it worked. The Cyclops didn't work, but the movies were successful. Cyclops was the biggest tragedy with even of like of all the Fox movies that have come out, the Fox X-Men movies, Fantastic Four, Fan Four Stick, all of it. I think Cyclops and the way he was done is still probably like the biggest betrayal of like my childhood. In all honesty,
Such garbage.
like what they did was like, I don't, that was bad time. Like Smoke Cloud Galactus was bad. Like don't get me wrong, but and then like Spider-Man 3 was bad, but like Cyclops was bad for multiple movies, man. And then they just kill him. So like
he was bad.
Like, and James Marsters is a great actor. I would have loved to have actually seen him like
do something.
So yeah, like be Cyclops, dude. Like writers, let him be Cyclops, man. Anyway, that's it. That's pretty much all. You guys got anything else on the Green Lantern stuff? Because I think I've pretty much spoke about my hesitations for it. I am excited, but all right. Well, question is, guys, what do you think about it? Are you just excited that the Green Lantern show? Because that's another thing too. I just didn't touch on besides at the top. Like this show has been in development and like announced. I think back when Justice League was actually coming out, so like 2016. Like they've been talking about actually making the show. I think I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think that's when the first like kind of rumors started about it, and like to this day they never confirmed it like actually happening. So here's the first official confirmation of it. So, I mean, I'm excited for that alone. They're finally getting some movement on it. One note, just one thing to note too, because we didn't actually talk about this too much at all, really, when we were talking about it. The writer of the Lego Batman movie and Mark Guggenheim are the ones that are leading this. So, just so you guys know, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the Lego Batman movie. But that movie was that movie was pretty awesome.
Yes.
So that was like the writing in it was great. Like it was very good. So that definitely, and Mark Guggenheim has definitely had his ups and his downs too. So
yeah, very odd choice to go with the guy who wrote the very poorly received Green Lantern movie,
right,
to do the Green Lantern show. Now, you know, in the same vein as Jamie Foxx gained redemption on playing Electro again, maybe this is his chance to redeem, you know. Who knows what kind of studio involvement was in that Green Lantern movie? So,
well, and he's also had. You could argue that he's kind of had some redemption with Arrow, because he was like the co-creator of Arrow and everything in that. So, like, that, and Arrow, like I said, that had its ups and downs too. But the initial inception of Arrow, like season 1 and season 2 of Arrow, was like really good. Like that was some like high quality television at the time, especially for CW. It's so weird. Like, cause that show was almost like a lighter version of Daredevil, like Netflix Daredevil for season 1 and 2, and then it kind of just did not become that. Then it was Iron Fist.
And as bad as the Green Lantern movie was, it wasn't without any moments that were good. There were some good bits in that Green Lantern movie.
There were some things.
Just on a whole, it's an awful movie. But
I think people give Green Lantern a lot more crap than is needed, because I think the third act is where it all falls apart, but everything up to it isn't all bad. It's not great.
The CGI is just
Ryan Reynolds plays a good Hal Jordan.
He does.
Not my ideal Hal Jordan, but he played a very good wisecracking, you know, flight jockey. I mean, that he played that part very well. It was just,
and Taika Waititi was his best friend.
Yep. And Carol was good, and Blake Lively, she played a good Carol.
Carol Ferris.
Carol Ferris. Yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of other
Star
stuff
Sapphire. I really wanted that movie to be successful, and I think Ryan and Taika actually joked about it. Like we're glad that movie wasn't successful, because Taika would have continued an acting career instead of becoming a director. Had it taken off. So we would have missed out on a lot of good things. So that's
true.
You know, so if there's anything good to come of that movie sucking, it's the fact that Taika Waititi stopped acting. He was funny as hell.
He still kind of does.
And,
he was great.
And Ryan Reynolds didn't get shoehorned into the role of Green Lantern and was able to go and do the Deadpool movie. So
true.
Yeah. So if anything, I would love for Ryan Reynolds to come back and get his redemption. Like, because I think I talked about this with Rick before. Like, I could see Ryan coming back if Warner Brothers was like, just do your thing, dude. Like, we saw what you did with Deadpool. Do it again for Green Lantern. Just like,
give us success.
Go and do it. Go get Rhett Reese and Warnick, you know, the writers that were with he did Deadpool with, and just make a Green Lantern movie for us, like, make it good. And I'm
Yep.
sure he would do it at that point. I don't see why he wouldn't. Like, because if he gets full creative control, that's what everybody would want. And, like, in my opinion, I would trust him to do that. Like, of all the things to trust Ryan Reynolds with, that's a pretty good one. Like,
Yep.
he's already proven what he can do. So, but anyways, guys, again, question is, what do you guys think? Again, it's kind of a mixed bag. I'm excited. We're all kind of excited. I guess skeptical, questionable. Need more details at this time. But whatever you guys think, let us know down in the comment section. All right, guys. So our next topic here takes us completely out of the comic book world and into, I don't know, the world of Kris Kringle. I guess is I don't really know the wonderful world of Christmas, whatever you want to call it. A trailer for the Christmas movie you never thought you needed, I guess, and it still might be the case after you see the trailer, like depending on where you sit with it. Um, it's called Fatman, and it stars Mel Gibson as Santa Claus. And yes, you absolutely heard me correctly. Okay, so the trailer for Fatman, never knew about this movie until this trailer dropped. By the way, um, I don't know where you guys stand on it. We've all seen the trailer. We haven't talked about it. So I'm just going to start here by, like, first off, if I'm going to review the trailer itself, it had its ups and downs, okay? The ups for me was just Mel Gibson being Mel Gibson.
I like the violence.
Yeah, like that's I like that shit. And I like Bad Santa a whole lot with Billy Bob Thornton. And also, this is a throwback for all you kids out there. Santa Slays, but Slays with Bill Goldberg, okay?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so like that's the vibe like going into this. That's kind of what I got from it in general. Is like if you combine Santa Slays with Bad Santa and maybe the Grinch, that's kind of where I'm at with it in some way. But like at first it starts out super duper serious, but then it changes in tone and it starts to, like, I don't know, it's almost like you can see like they're all just kind of having fun with the movie at that point. Like it starts out serious, but then Walter Goggins' character comes in and then the tone kind of shifts to them just like, I feel like it's just it's they're not really being serious.
Satirical.
It's like, yeah, it's like they're just having fun with like I don't know for sure. I haven't seen the movie, but that's the kind of the vibe I got from it. So, and with I love Mel Gibson, like all his personal stuff aside, as an actor and as a director. So as an artist, I guess Mel Gibson's awesome. Like you can hold whatever discretions you want about it, but if I separate the art from the artist, the dude's awesome. Hacksaw Ridge, Lethal Weapon. What else we got? This list goes on, dude. Dragged Across Concrete, one of the most recent movies he was in.
The Patriot.
Apocalypto. Yeah, The
Dude,
Patriot
Apocalypto was
with
amazing.
my other one, the Heath Ledger. That's a great ass.
That is a good movie.
That's like Mel Gibson's just awesome. Okay, like I don't care. So I'm excited just to see Mel Gibson back in front of the camera because again, if you haven't seen Dragged Across Concrete, God, I don't know why.
Concrete.
Dragged Across Concrete, with Vince Vaughn was in it with him. They pretty much played just like some rugged cops, like dirty cops kind of thing. But they're not really dirty cops, but they kind of are. I don't know. Just go watch it. It's a good movie. I don't know, I'm just excited to see Mel Gibson back in front of the camera. I want more Mel Gibson. So like I'm excited to see it. It's the tonal shift though is one thing I don't know if I really like too much. Like I kind of liked the almost like Santa's real and everyone knows he's real vibe like of the movie. Like I
Yeah.
kind of liked that where they were going with it, but then I don't know. Like I love Walter Goggins. He's a cool guy and he's a great actor. But when his character comes in, you see that it's like just a completely different kind of movie. So, and I don't know if that's the movie that I was kind of more liking the initial part of it, like a Santa who's just given up on humanity, and you know what I mean. I liked that, and then it went over to being like kind of not that in some ways. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I thought, just real quickly, I thought it was very strange. And I think when people watch the trailer, people that are watching this, go watch it. I mean, my face the entire time was basically just like, but that's like literally all I have to say about it. It was just very strange.
Yeah, I'm right there with Rick. I don't know what to think. Mel Gibson, I thought was kind of done. I thought he wasn't a thing anymore. But I also haven't followed the saga of Mel Gibson. And like I felt like he almost got a chance to come back at one point and then stuck his foot in his mouth again and got himself in more trouble. So I don't even know what his personal issues are. I've heard they weren't good, but so I was kind of shocked in the first place just when you told me, hey, Mel Gibson has a new movie coming out. So my mind is already trying to process. This is Mel Gibson. What's he doing in a movie? Like who actually was like, yeah, we want Mel Gibson to lead our movie. And then you add in the premise of it's a tequila drinking, gun toting Santa Claus that's being hunted. There's a lot to process. I don't know they'll ever fully come to terms with what I've seen just from the trailer.
It's like Rob said, it's like the Santa movie that like we didn't even thought we knew we needed or whatever. Like,
yeah, the one you never knew you needed and never really wanted.
I would have never considered this kind of movie even ever being like created.
Yeah, but that's why I want to see it.
It's true.
Like, you know,
it looks deep. I mean, like entertainment wise, it looks like, oh, that could be good. But as a concept, it's like, what the hell? Like,
as a concept, I think it's actually interesting. Like Santa's real, and like he's just kind of
hates the world. And,
yeah. And there's definitely a market for the Santa Claus is a bad guy idea. Wasn't there the movie Krampus that came out a few years? Krampus was like
that's different though. Yeah,
but was it an evil version of Kris Kringle or something like that?
He's a mythological. It's like a folklore figure. Yeah,
yeah.
Kind of goes along with Christmas time and the whole Yuletide.
It's a German thing.
Yeah.
Oh, kind of like I never.
The Belschnickel.
Yeah, it's like that. If you ever watch The Office and Dwight talk about the Belschnickel,
he's like one of the associates of Krampus.
Yeah, it's one of the
the associate.
Okay.
Yeah, the known associates.
The Belschnickel.
Yeah. But that was so. Actually, too, that movie was like stupid, but I enjoyed it. In all honesty,
I think that was the point of that movie.
Yeah, like that was a super campy. I don't know. It was good. It was a campy horror Christmas movie, but it was a very on the nose camp horror kind of thing.
But it clearly shows that people are okay taking the Christmas and the ideas and concepts around Christmas and putting them in a more violent,
dark
dark context.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the Grinch. It's the same thing. Just at the end,
it's like
he's a good guy, and I'm sure at the end of this, Mel Gibson's heart's going to grow 2 sizes too big, and
he's going to die.
Back to being Santa. Guarantee it.
He's going to
maybe not. Maybe just
Tim Allen's going to step in.
You think? Do you think this movie is going to play seriously, or is it going to be tongue in cheek the whole time?
I think it's going to be kind of. It looked like from the trailer, it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Like they got the over the top scene of the kid that gets a piece of coal like on his knees in the snow, so yelling, "You messed up!" Yeah. Like that's very over the top.
It's very camp, but then you have Mel Gibson giving like an Oscar-worthy Santa alcoholic performance. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's why I'm like
Oscar-worthy.
Well, I'm just saying, it's just tonally, it's like that kind of thing. Like you have Mel Gibson giving this kind of performance, and then you have the kid and Walter Goggins giving a completely different kind of the over-the-top acting kind of thing. You know what I mean? And like even Walter Goggins' character like pulls up to the dude and he's the hunting thing, the hunting clip, just like, yeah, going hunting, I'm gonna kill some stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's like, okay,
I'm just not sure my brain will be able to put it all together. It won't know what I'm watching while I'm watching it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to like associate.
You're gonna watch it now.
It's hard for me to associate that kind of character with Santa Claus, with everything you knew and grew up with and all that, and to see him in that sort of light. Like it's a cool perspective, but it's hard for my brain, like you said, to kind of put it together.
All right. That's why I always wanted to make a video game, and I saw like recently too, someone took my $1 million idea. Someone made this game. I wanted to take all like your heroes, like the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, those kind of dudes.
Your holiday figures.
Your holiday like figure people, and make like a Mortal Kombat style game. That's what and like
Santa just stabs people with
the same way, like R-rated like kind of thing. And I always wanted, and I feel like I'm kind of getting that through here, even though someone else already did make my thing. Like because I think literally they have all the same characters. I don't know if I said this on air at some point or what. Because like the dude had Santa Claus in it, he had Jesus in it. I think Easter, but like everybody I wanted to be in this game, this dude put in it. So I was like, well, I thought it was $1 million idea, but I guess someone else had it too. So,
Has he made a
who
lot of money?
could
off it?
actually make the game?
He
I
may he
yeah,
may have made $1 million.
I don't
It
know,
probably was.
but it's sounds like a great game though. I just thought it'd be a fun game to play.
Yeah,
You know what
for
I
sure.
mean? You get all these characters that kind of you don't see because that's kind of like the cool concept in my mind, where it's like you were saying, Rick, you don't see Santa Claus typically put in that kind of situation, and that's what is like, in my opinion, is what makes it interesting. You know, because it's like, how many times do you have to see Santa Claus being Santa Claus to understand that Santa Claus is Santa Claus? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? When
yeah.
you introduce something new and fresh to the story, it gives people a reason to actually watch it. Like, you know what I mean? If this was just gonna be like
Kids
the
are gonna
Tim
be.
Allen Santa Claus remake with
That was a
Mel
good
Gibson,
movie.
the first one was really good.
Really good.
The other ones, like,
Yeah,
they
the other
just
ones are
went off the
stupid.
rails after that. Like,
Yeah.
let's just add as much mayhem, cartooniness, as campiness as possible, really. But I don't know. In the end, I'm gonna watch this movie now, no matter what. That's kind of where I'm at with it. So if anything, I didn't know this movie existed, like, a month ago. But now I'm gonna watch it. Let me see if it has a release date on here at all. I'm not seeing it.
I mean, it's got to be Christmas, right? It's got to be.
Yeah, you would
December?
think so.
This dude, anonymous. Wow, talk about a lump of coal.
Oh,
Good
Dig
one.
it.
That was good.
Yeah.
That's good. This anonymous guy. Why are the only choices for modern holiday movies either formulaic Hallmark schlock or aggressively R-rated stuff that would traumatize any kid who saw it by mistake? Who are the creators with brains as well as hearts? Every human being on the
Mia
planet.
Cottis loves Mel Gibson.
Every human being on the planet is a creator with brains and as well as hearts. Okay,
Yeah.
anonymous. Here you go. Give you
It's a
that.
weird name. Anonymous.
Yeah, anonymous. There's so many people who are just anonymous.
Yeah, they all have the same name.
But again, I tell you, anonymous man, what is the point of making? See, you either make a formulaic Hallmark movie or you make an R-rated thing. What's in between that? Well, those are the two polar extremes.
Sounds like
So it's
Fatman's between that.
Well, no, Fatman would be probably more the aggressively rated R thing. I don't know if it's rated R. There's a lot of blood, so I don't know. I don't know if it actually says it's going to be rated R or not.
Yeah.
But either way, like, what else do you do with it at that point? It's like you're not like with these kind of movies. You're not really in a position to where you can do like much with it. Like, I don't know. At least to make it interesting, because you get the Tim Allen Santa Claus, or you get Santa Sleighs with Bill Goldberg, or you get Bad Santa, or you get the Grinch. Like, you know what I mean? It's not. What else can you really do? Just tell a nice, heartwarming story about Santa and his daughter, and because they did that on Disney and it stuck. Okay, so like you can't do much with this kind of stuff. It's all the same thing. So as long as you make a good movie, I don't care, in my opinion. And I'll
Yeah.
take more Mel Gibson than anything. So that's all I got to say. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys think? You let us know down in the comment section below. Are you like me? And now that you've seen the trailer, you're gonna watch it now just out of morbid curiosity, or did you watch it, see the trailer, and you're just gonna watch it because you liked it, or do you agree with anonymous number one who just says, "Wow, talk about a lump of coal"? So whatever it is, let us know down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our next topic is it's gonna be a jump into more of what is supposed to be a video game movie, okay? And I say supposed to be because the previous installments of this franchise were anything but. They had nothing to do with the video game franchise itself. They were just kind of the terrible, terrible movies in their own right. I know people like them, and if you like them, that's great, whatever. But we're talking about Resident Evil here, okay? So Resident Evil is making a reboot, but in this sense, it's the true sense of the word reboot, because they're disconnecting themselves from the previous installments. It's a new cast, and they go on to say the writer director of the movie says, like, with this movie, I really wanted to go back to the original first two games and recreate the terrifying visceral experience I had when I first played them. So, and he goes on to say more. I'm not going to obviously read the entire thing, so bear with me. Not out loud by any means. This isn't that kind of show. If you want an audiobook, you go get an audiobook. You want to read the article, you go read the article. I'm just going to talk about the article. So, I'm excited for this because, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan. I don't know about you guys. I'm not the biggest like Resident Evil fan. Like I like Resident Evil, I like the universe and everything, but it's not like I've sat there and played every single game to completion
not
over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not something I'm like
Yeah.
dedicated
Yeah.
to by any means.
Yeah, like I like it. I think it's cool, and I know the movies were not Resident Evil, even though
They were not.
like that's not
They
what
were
it
awful.
is. They even they try to throw in some characters like Wessler, and then Chris whatever was like they come in at some point, but they're not even those characters.
No,
Like
it's just the name.
yeah, so and because I kind of spoke about that a week or so ago when we had our first look at Monster Hunter, and I have the same reservations with that because again, that's not a game that like I'm super invested in, but like I know there's a lot of people that are, and I know it's a great game and people love it and everything, but Mila Jovovich, who's great, is starring in that movie as well, which made me go, I just hope this isn't directed by her. Yep, it is.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Paul W.S. Anderson, who directed all those Resident Evil movies with Mila Jovovich in them before, is directing the Monster Hunter movie. So I was like, well, that just really lowers my no offense to them at all, but like just based on the evidence, I cannot be as excited as I was prior.
How many of those movies was there even?
I think 7.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
Yeah, and they never got good.
Ew.
They were never like good, or they were never true to the installments and the game.
I don't even think they
series,
were like
anyway.
popular. Like
They weren't, but they were able to make them super
They were-
cheap.
Yeah,
Like,
and they had a following. I mean, they had enough people that liked them well enough that they were
It's
able
true.
to keep making them.
yeah, they have like what you would describe as like a cult following for them. Like
I'd say
there
so.
are fans of, and that's why I said off the top, like no offense if you like them, because I know there are people who like them. Just for me, they don't work, and I would have much preferred seeing a much more faithful adaptation to the games, because like despite if you like the games or not, just the general story of the games is actually, I mean, it's a good story, and it would have been, it's a very cinematic game as it is too, like the way it's told and everything.
Well, and the games were always, they had a strong horror element to them. The movies came off more as action flicks.
Yeah, like sci-fi action.
Yeah, sci-fi action with monsters. But I'm hoping that this remake, if he really is trying to follow the story beats of 1 and 2, has that stronger horror element to it.
Yeah, and this is not Paul W.S. Anderson making this one. This is Johannes Roberts, so I don't know who. I'm not familiar with their previous work, so I can't speak to that. All I know is that they're saying that they played the games and they want to make a true adaptation of the games. So I mean, to me right away, I was sold on that. Like, so I'm looking forward to that, and I hope it turns out well. And the cast is shaping up to be pretty good too. Like Kaya Skuld. I can't pronounce the name. I always remember her from the British TV series Skins, so that's what she'll always be. Her name was Effie in that, so she'll just always be Effie to me. Robbie Amell, Hannah John Kamen, who played Ghost in Ant-Man, if I'm not mistaken, Ant-Man 2, and then Tom Hopper from Umbrella Academy. Not familiar with Avon Jogia. Again, not sure on the pronunciation. First time I'm reading it. And then Neil Mcdonough, he's listed everything, man. He pops up. I always love seeing. He's good in everything too. Exactly. He is one of those actors. Yeah. He's just one of those dudes who just pop up in something, and like he'll deliver. He'll constantly deliver. Like if you want him to be off the fucking walls, campy, he'll do it and he'll exceed at it. You want him to be serious, he'll do it. Like he can do it all. He can be funny. Like he's just a well-rounded actor. I mean, I'm sure you've seen Neil Mcdonough pop up somewhere. Like he's been in so many movies. So like the cast is so far looking pretty great. I don't think it goes on to say who they're going to be playing by any means. You'd think they would have though. 'Cause they obviously
Sure.
have to know who.
Doesn't it say it up in there? It shows who they are, like Jill Valentine.
Yeah, it does.
Where?
Right there in that paragraph.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
Kaya's
okay. I don't know how
Claire
I
Redfield.
completely passed this paragraph. So,
Yeah, there
yeah,
you go.
Chris Redfield, that's the damn name I was thinking of. So, Robbie's playing Chris Red I would have imagined Tom
Okay.
Hopper was playing Chris Redfield. That was more of a fit for me. So Tom Hopper is playing Wesker. Interesting. I would have pictured Neil Mcdonough playing. So, I don't know. Interesting.
Take us to
Interesting.
Raccoon
Oh, I
City.
remember him now. He was the hippie guy in Zombieland 2. Okay, that makes sense. I remember him. So I have seen his work before. He was fine. That he was also in if that's the same guy I'm thinking of, then he was in that Nickelodeon show, Victorious.
Yeah. Was he?
Yeah. He was the cool kid with
He
the long
was,
hair.
yeah, with the cool hair and
Yeah,
stuff.
that was him.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
then, yeah, because I saw him in that, and then when I was watching Zombieland 2, I was like, "Hey, man, that's that dude from Victorious." Like,
Yeah.
just like smoking weed and doing all this stuff that you wouldn't do on Nickelodeon.
Yeah. Which is funny because Victoria Justice plays that kind of character like on a show I watch now. Doesn't all the stuff that you like wouldn't expect her to do because you just associate her with Victorious, but
Right. Yeah,
grow up.
I think the cast looks good. There were some casting choices though that I would probably flip around in all honesty. But I didn't see them audition for this stuff. It's just when I see these guys and know their work, it's not what I initially thought. I would have assumed Tom Hopper was playing Chris Redfield like all the way, and then obviously Neil Mcdonough would have probably been playing Wesker. That would have been my initial thoughts, and then like Kai playing Claire Redfield. That would go. That's fine. That's where my head was at. So I don't know. But again, I'm not too attached to the franchise itself. So I mean, I'm not really too concerned with the cast choices. It's a good, but
Yeah, if they can nail that horror vibe, I'm there. I'm down.
I think, in my opinion, too, like with it being Halloween and everything, it we're like I don't know, if, at least for me, like we're kind of due for an actual good horror movie, and we're also way long overdue for a good video game movie.
True.
Like
True.
way.
I assume this is production hope with a hopeful release of next year, or are we still a couple years out?
I don't know. I don't think it actually says. I don't
Okay.
see any year on here or production.
So we might actually be a couple years out if they haven't even gotten production rolling, if they're just in the early casting stages.
I guess there were 6. I could have swore there were 7, but there were 6 original Resident Evil movies. This article says
6 too many.
Yeah, this is all true.
We're gonna get some crap for that, but
Paul Davis Anderson wrote and directed film. Those movies combined made 1.2 billion.
Yeah.
more than I would have
And
imagined.
they definitely didn't spend that much on them. So yeah, they were successful. Like people definitely like them, which is baffling. It's like, did you watch it though? How? I don't know. I don't know. Not my kind of movies. Like, and especially not. Honestly, if they would have, maybe I would have a more appreciation for them if they weren't called Resident Evil. Like maybe I'm casting too much shade on them for that. Like I
Sure.
don't know. Like so maybe
I think that's
biased.
true.
Like
I think that's true. I think when you're expecting one thing and they give you what they gave you, it's hard not to be disappointed. But I think if you just take the name off and just watch them as a movie, you can be like, okay, this is kind of, I don't want to say dumb fun, but I'm going to say dumb fun.
Yeah.
Because I want to insult anybody that liked it. I mean, like I said, I think I watched the first one and thought for what it was fine. I just, it wasn't Resident Evil. And so I was disappointed because I knew the game and I was like, well, wait a minute, what's this? Where is this? Why aren't they doing this?
Yeah, it's
all
kind of
right, and
confusing.
that's kind of where I'm at with them. Like, and I they are B movies. Like they are your standard B movie. And like, I don't know. I like I appreciate B movies. Like I love like 80s and 90s B movies. There's a lot of them that are like really good, really fun to watch. Like especially a lot of Arnold and Van Damme ones, dude. Like those movies are top tier.
You talking like Commando or
Commando, dude, Time Cop, Running Man. Running Man is the most underrated Arnie movie, dude. I love that movie, dude. It is so dumb and it's great. Man, I love Running Man.
Total Recall?
I was a Van Damme and Steven Seagal junkie in the 80s and 90s, and
Steven Seagal was
those two. Woo!
I never got into Seagal, dude.
He's just so goofy.
Yeah.
Oh, he is, but man, some of those movies were just so
his
over
face
the top
is always like
Seagal and Chuck Norris like were never anybody. I was always more Van Damme and Arnie.
Van Damme had more
I
prominent
never really
roles.
cared for I like all these people I'm talking about right now, but when it came to like, I would watch a Van Damme movie and I would watch an Arnold movie. I wouldn't really seek out the other. Like if I saw it, fine, but like I wouldn't be like, shockingly, like I wasn't like trying to go watch Rambo and like Rocky and all. Like I wasn't like trying to watch it.
I'm just kidding.
But you give me Commando and Running Man, like dude, I was there. Like I was totally there. So I don't know. I hope though. I got some hopes for this one though. So I'm hoping. I want this to be good. I want a true horror movie though.
Yeah.
Because despite like everything, like I said, we're due for a good video game adaptation. The only good video game movie like that I would say was just been a good movie like on its own was the latest Tomb Raider movie. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Like
I tell you what, maybe it was because of the Angelina Jolie ones, but man, I love this latest Tomb Raider.
No, it was good.
What Alicia
Vikander.
Man, she was really good in the role, and the movie itself was good. Like,
yeah, they're making.
I wanted more. Are they?
Yeah, they're making another one.
I hope so, because man, I really like that movie.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like everyone has always talked about, at least in like this field, like the video game movie curse. Like everyone that comes out, you think it's gonna. You think Warcraft, dude. This is the one. This is the one that's gonna be the first good video game movie, and then it comes out, and you're like, okay, nope, it's cursed.
It's kind of I was gonna say it's a cursed movie.
Yeah, and then same thing, Assassin's Creed. It's like this is gonna be it, dude. Michael Fassbender. This is gonna be it. It's gonna. Oh yeah, no, that movie was worse than Warcraft. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, and honestly, like. Not so much Assassin's Creed, but Warcraft. Maybe it's just because I'm a WoW fan, but like it had its moments. Like Warcraft was actually like it wasn't a dumpster fire, and I understand what they were trying to do, but it didn't execute. It wasn't executed like perfectly. Like they were honestly like they should have done a different story like than what they were doing. It was honestly better suited for a TV show. There's so much lore with it. Like to get it done in 2 hours, it's a big undertaking. So like I give Duncan Jones props for Warcraft because he tried, and the CG, the orcs and everything looked great though. Like I like how the orcs look, and they did good on the human armor. But I'm hoping this will be another video game adaptation. But I want it to be a good horror movie, like you were saying, because like the sci-fi action other Resident Evil movies, like that's not really what I'm looking for in
Well, the game's a horror game.
Yeah. Like they're like the games are like slow, methodical tension, and like
it's like dark.
It's not always just like shoot the zombie. Like, it's not Walking Dead. It's not Walking Dead's like a human drama, and there's zombies in the background, you know. And then like Zombie Land's like just kind of almost how it would be like in the real world, like in a lot of ways. Like if zombies were there, that's just kind of how it would probably be. But then, like, this is a very, like, slow, methodical, like, it's just all about tension with these games. They're dark and slow. That's what I want out of it. Like, you know what I mean? Because I haven't felt like we've gotten a good horror movie in general in a long time.
No.
Because I know a lot of people like, what are they called? Like Conjuring and all that stuff. But I don't find those movies scary in any way at all. Like
I think they just, like, milk that franchise.
Yeah.
You've got the horror genre seems to be dominated by a lot of psychological horror movies now, like Hereditary and
oh, that movie was awesome, dude. That was good.
What Midsummer that came out
Midsummer
last year?
was crazy.
That was okay. I didn't like that one. Like it was okay. It was okay.
It was weird.
It was weird, but
I've heard they're
too slow.
I've heard they're good movies, and they're
good movies.
Head and they mess with your head, and they're horror that. But in terms of like the monster, the kind of like what's going on in the dark, you know, that kind of thing.
Your typical horror movie.
Your typical horror has been lacking for a while now.
Yeah, I mean, like, when I think horror, like, I think one of 2 things, like, really, that at least that I like, one is, like, the first Alien movie, like, Alien. I want,
Mhm.
like, that kinda thing. Like, if they took the Alien approach with Resident Evil, that's what I want. Like, that is very well suited for it. Like,
Yeah,
and then
it's a good point.
the other route would be doing, like, the more like, like the OG Michael Myers kinda thing, where, like,
Yeah.
because they have
Mhm.
has a very similar approach to Alien, where, like, Michael's not, like, up front and center in your face all the time, he's just kind of
No.
there.
And it's not your typical, like, horror slasher
Yeah.
movie either, like Friday the 13th. I liked Hellraiser. That to me was, like,
That
the
was dude, I love
definition.
dude, there are some the first and second one, they have their moments, and, the dude, the world of it is what's good about the
It's
Hellraiser movies.
crazy.
Like, they're weird.
Yeah.
The
The
Cenobites, man,
Cenobites,
they're
yeah.
just weird, like but, like, I don't know if that's the kind of thing I'm going for. Dude, Henry Cavill was in, Hellraiser 4, I think.
What?
Yeah.
In
Hellraiser 2000, I think is what it's called, not Hellraiser 4. Hellraiser
Hellraiser
2000, you will
2000.
see a young Henry Cavill giving a not his
Mediocre?
best performance.
Yeah.
I
I could see
started
that.
watching it because I literally saw Henry Cavill in it, and I was just like, "I have to watch it." I didn't finish it. I couldn't finish it. So if I ever get a chance to meet Henry Cavill, I'm gonna try to play some World of Warcraft with him, and I'm gonna ask him what was going on with this Hellraiser 2000 movie. 'Cause I bet
Yeah.
nobody talks to him about Hellraiser 2000
You gotta, like, bring it
nowadays.
up to him, like,
Yeah,
in his
it's always
face.
Superman this and, Geralt of Rivera that, and, "Are you gonna do this?" And he's like I'm be like, "Dude, what's up with Hellraiser
Hellraiser 4.
2000?"
Yeah.
Like,
Help me.
what are we doing Hellraiser 4000? But, yeah, I just so in the end, I just hope they do a good job with the movie, like, as always, but I'm hoping for horror stuff, so, yeah. What do you guys got anything else on Resident Evil? Alright.
Ah,
Well, then I'm gonna kick it over to you guys. You let us know down in the comment section below. Do you like that they're rebooting the franchise? Or are you one of the people who like the, original Paul W.S. Anderson and Mila Jovovich series and would like to have seen that continue on in some way? I'm glad they're doing a reboot. I want something to be a little bit closer to the games, and I really hope they stick to the more high tension, dark, creepy vibes that the game gives off more so than a lot of, like, the action stuff, that's what I really want out of it, but alas, I'm nobody, so it doesn't really matter to me,
hey,
so I just
you're
want a good
somebody.
movie. Well, everybody's somebody to somebody, so I'm just saying, like, I'm
Don't
not the one
downplay
making the
yourself.
movie, so, like, I'm just saying, as a viewer, I would like to see someone take that approach, 'cause I find that compelling. You give me Alien, but with Resident Evil, I'm sold. That's what I want. So whatever it is, guys, you let us know down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our next topic here brings us to the wonderful world of Disney, and with that, their latest Pixar movie, Soul, they are going to be putting directly on Disney Plus now, skipping a theatrical release, much like Mulan, but different than Mulan because they are not going to be charging the $30 up front for you to actually watch the film. And that is kind of what I wanted to talk about here today because they just recently released Mulan on uh other like VOD services, not VOD, but well, I guess technically speaking, but they put it on like the iTunes store to purchase Mulan and then like Google Play, all these other places, and they got a lot of backlash when they did this because it was the same price essentially, okay? So you could go on iTunes or whatever and pay $30 to get Mulan, but you get to keep Mulan, obviously, because you're buying it outright there. But not only do you get to buy it, outright and you keep it forever, unless Google or Apple goes away at some point. Um, so $30 you get to keep it. Then it was also a 4K edition with a bunch of behind the scenes bonus features and stuff. And then if you had paid for it on Disney Plus, you didn't get any of that stuff. You didn't get it in the 4K, you didn't get the bonus features, and you don't get to keep the movie because if you cancel your Disney Plus subscription, you no longer have access to it.
That's so silly.
So you're essentially if you paid the $30 to watch Mulan, you actually paid like what is it, like $8 a month for Disney Plus right now, which is gonna be going up at some point. So Or is it less than that? I can't remember. Is it like $6 a month right now?
It might have been like $6 or $6.99. Yeah.
Let's
Like
split
that.
the difference and say it's 7. Okay, so if it's $7 a month, you're paying $84 plus your $30, which is $114 for you to watch Mulan. Okay, I don't think that's really worth it, in my opinion. But granted, you get all the other Disney content and stuff. But the real story with that, in my opinion, is that like you don't get to keep the movie afterward. Like, and I think that's a huge gross oversight that Disney did, at least in my opinion, because you're gonna charge someone like full price. Like, yeah, they like framed it as like early access to Milan, but I mean that's kind of shady in my opinion. Like,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
like they should have made it to where, because I feel like a lot of the backlash they got may have led to their decision of not making you pay an extra $30 to see Soul, and like they're just putting it on Disney Plus. And this is like it been a really talked about Pixar movie. I mean, everybody loves Pixar movies; they're all great. And ever since they first showed it off, I think at D23 this past year, everyone was like really excited to see it. It looked good and blah blah blah. So poised to be a successful movie. All of Pixar's movies, I think, typically make around 600 million to $1 billion themselves. So like they are typically, even when they're not like, I mean, they're always good. Like they're always good in some level, even if they're not really your taste. Like they normally are always very good and they're very successful. So it's interesting that they're just foregoing the potential gains from that movie, like kind of outright, by just putting it on Disney Plus. But I do have to say, Disney Plus, again, like I've been saying this for a year now, is still hurting for content. Like to this day, they still just have like Mandalorian and what was the Hamilton finally came out on there, but that's not really an original thing.
No.
That's just something they bought the rights to and put it on. So like, I mean, that's kind of like an asterisk by Hamilton. So then aside from some other like smaller kind of filler shows, they you haven't had any of your Marvel series come out, your flagship shows, they still don't have anything on there. Like in my opinion, Disney Plus just doesn't have anything to offer right now, content wise, other than their back catalog that everyone's, I mean, already seen. So I mean, it's great if you have families and your kids want to watch it and whatnot, and everything. But what do you guys think of this? Do you think it's a good move for them to put this on there for free, or do you think they're just based on the financial success of like Pixar movies that like they should have just held this thing off and released it sometime next year?
I think it's stupid that they did that with Mulan, but they're not doing that with this. And I don't know, it's a shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like the I don't know, the unevenness, I guess, the discrepancy, like what like of them doing why Mulan but not this? Because
Yeah.
arguably this is more of your win than Mulan, in my opinion. Like the live action Disney movies, while like most of them have been like successful, not all of them have been well received. Pixar movies are always typically well received and successful. So if you were gonna charge anything up front cost, I feel like this would have maybe been your better bet. Like, I don't know though, like maybe not though. Mulan is a bigger name. This is its own property. So like you're just I don't know. I guess Upward didn't really do that well, or Onward rather didn't really do all that well.
Yeah.
But Onward, when it came out though, it was right when the Cove hit, so it didn't really get a full theatrical run. And like as soon as the theaters shut down, they put it on VOD at Disney Plus. Right? I think they just put it straight to Disney Plus, like right when that stuff
Yep.
happened.
Went
So,
right
and
to
you didn't
Disney
have to
Plus.
pay for it; it's just there. So I don't know. What do you think, John?
Um, it's hard to evaluate these things from the outside. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know if this is an indictment against how Mulan did. Was Mulan not successful financially for them? Do they feel like that they didn't make what they wanted to make with releasing it, and they feel like this is more just a way to keep people, because Mulan hasn't hit Disney Plus yet as for just the regular subscribers. So, and who knows how long it's going to be before it shows up on the platform for those that didn't pay the $30. Um, so I feel like you said, they're hurting for content. When you look at the release, how often Amazon and Netflix, who are their streaming competitors, are releasing new content. Clearly, Disney is not matching that pace. So I think this gives them the opportunity to say, well, we may not be offering the quantity that you're getting from Amazon or Netflix, but we're definitely offering maybe a step above in terms of quality, and try and pull people in or keep people subscribed to the service through those means. As far as the monetary value, it's my understanding, and again, not being in the industry, I don't know these things for fact, but a lot of films are produced on borrowed money. They borrow a lot of money against future earnings. And so without having a way to financially show that this movie has gained some of its revenue back, and either through subscriptions to Disney Plus or whatever, it might be hard for them to hold this movie for another year or another year and a half until they feel comfortable that it will get the release that it needs in theaters to be successful. So I think when you factor all those things together, this is probably the right move. This gives them a strong content drop on their streaming platform. It gives them a strong reason for people to stay subscribed to the service, especially if they feel like there's a chance that they'll be getting these movies, especially through these COVID times. And you know, it'll get watched. A lot of people right now are starving for new movies. You're not getting the theatrical releases of things. This probably will do gangbusters for them. So I think all in all, I think it's a good move.
Do you think overall though, you're thinking that Disney's pretty much leaning on this, bringing in new subscribers, or at least keeping subscribers? I could see it.
I think it's a combination. I think there's the hope that they'll bring in some additional subscribers, but I think it's also, you know, who knows what their internal numbers are saying. I mean, this has the sample size is beyond small, but I know of at least a few people that are planning on picking Disney Plus up, you know, towards the end of the Mandalorian's run, so that they can just binge the Mandalorian in 1 month and then cancel after 1 month. And so
there are people out there that do that religiously.
Yeah, sure. And it's definitely with these services, that's definitely your prerogative, is to, you know, hop in and out of them as you see fit. But Disney, maybe they're seeing that, maybe they're feeling that, well, maybe if we get people, you know, if we give them something else, if we give them some other reasons, like you said, this is coming out Christmas Day. So if the Mandalorian's run ends mid-Christmas, maybe this keeps those people around through the new year. You know,
that's true.
Who knows?
Yeah, because that's the thing. It would be much harder for people to like decide to cancel the service if they had something new coming out every month or 2 months. You know what I mean? Because that's what you want. Like that's what Netflix is great at. Like they might put out a bunch of garbage, but like every time you turn Netflix on, it's like new release this, new release that, new release this, new release that, and like there's something. I mean, there's a piece of content out there for everybody. So like what I think might be a dumpster fire, like someone might enjoy it and like want to watch. You know, like there's an audience for everything. Like all those Adam Sandler movies that came out on Netflix, they're garbage movies, but people watch them. You know what I mean? Like like you know, it is what it is. And when it comes to the numbers, it is kind of hard to say. I mean, when you look at the Mulan's box office, they've only worldwide gross. Granted, this is only open. They were only able to open in places that Disney Plus is not in. So they didn't have like a huge release because if Disney Plus was offered, it had to be put on Disney Plus in that area. So they've only made $666 million. It's a very small amount of money. Like for a movie that probably cost 150, $200 million ish. Doesn't say how much it exactly is in here, but I think it was around like 150 million to produce. And then I know there was some article from a while back where, and then like Yahoo put out an article saying that Mulan had made like $200 million or something, and then they had to come out and correct the article because like the way they presented the information wasn't correct. So like I think in the end, like at best, that movie probably around $200, which isn't that's not even they spent way more on Mulan than $200 million once you factor in marketing and everything. So like And what you were saying, John, like that's one thing that a lot of people don't really understand, that like these movie studios aren't just sitting on mountains of cash. Like everything they make is from borrowed money. So I guess the real question is like, is they must have some sort of financial projections that can see that like we should get X amount of subscribers if we have this and this come out. Like their projections must show that they didn't get enough return out of charging for Mulan. And Mulan's kind of a tough case though too, because it did have some form of theatrical release in these other markets. So like I don't really
Yeah.
know what kind of good data like you could get. I would find it hard to really get any data from it other than seeing how many people paid for it, but it'd be hard to say. I find it to be like kind of an case. Like a big title, more people would go for something they know than, Soul being an unknown. So I don't know, it's kind of hard to compare and contrast.
The other hard thing with Mulan was this was really a very unique and completely new way of distributing the film. It wasn't just a drop onto a streaming service for free like they had done basically with Onward and like Netflix and Amazon do. It wasn't your typical streaming service VOD purchase. It was this weird, like, okay, I'm subscribed to this for this fee, and then I'm going to pay you a premium charge. I didn't personally pay for Mulan. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to wait till it hits Disney Plus for free, or free with my subscription. Um,
Which I
but
think
I don't
is
even.
now.
I
I
don't.
think it's now. 'Cause
No, I don't think
I
it's.
think now that it's out on the other services, I think it's free for Disney Plus. If not, then it's gonna be in the next month. Can't remember.
Okay. I actually just looked at it earlier
Are they
this
still
week, and
charging?
it was still under the premium. And I'm not even sure how that works as far as the premium. I mean, it's not, you're not purchasing Mulan, you're purchasing the premium tier of Disney Plus. So does that
What are you really
premium
paying
tier-
for? Like,
Exactly. What is that price that you're paying? It's a very strange
Well, see, and that's
it's a
the
very
thing.
strange way of doing
I
it.
brought this up like a while ago on the show when I think when they first announced this was going to happen, or maybe before that. I could see the streaming services having a higher paid tier, right? Like Disney, for instance. If you paid $50 a month, you get access to X number of new releases. Like instead of seeing
Sure.
it in theaters,
that would make
it's
sense.
kind of like a AMC A list, right? You get $20 a month. You can see 3 movies a week, like any movie you want, any screen, whatever. You go see 3 movies a week. I could see in the future these streaming services adopting a similar kind of model, primarily the ones that have theatrical distribution. Because like Netflix, they only put like a couple movies they make actually go into theaters, and they do the minimum just for award consideration. They don't do full theatrical runs. They just do 2 weeks in New York and LA. You got to get it on 500 screens for it to be eligible, or whatever it is, and that's all they do. They do the bare minimum for it. But I could totally see Disney Plus saying, we have a premium tier for $50 a month. You get access to the new releases directly on Disney Plus. You don't own the
Yeah.
movie, but you can watch them as soon as they come out in theaters. Or is the theaters probably would never go for it, but if they could say like, because like with the theaters, the theatrical window is like 90 days. So a movie has to play in the theaters for 90 days before it'll go on a streaming service, paid VOD, Blu-ray, whatever you want. Like can only be exclusively in the theaters for 90 days. But a lot of companies have been wanting to shorten that window, Universal being one of them. So I could see maybe in the future, especially with theaters in the state that they're in right now, which we'll get into in our topic, um, like these streaming services and the theatrical industry itself having to kind of adopt, like for kind of both of them to stay alive, change their ways in some way. And like I could see that being successful for kind of in a lot of ways, obviously more for like Disney and them, but like I could also see like, I mean, you gotta imagine too, like the reason like they don't like doing this, at least like Disney, for instance, or any like uh production company. As soon as you put a high quality version of something on a streaming service, it's pirated immediately and available everywhere.
Oh yeah.
So you lose a lot of the revenue, like just outright right there. Is it a huge chunk of it? No, but it's a decent chunk of it. And like we talked about it before, when you have something readily available at your house, you miss out on repeat viewings. If you said you went and saw Endgame, what, 5 times or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you could have went and watched it in the theaters, but then you paid for premium Disney Plus, so you just had it at home, you probably wouldn't have gone back those 4 times. You probably would have went and watched Endgame in the theater and then came home and watched it again. And
Yeah.
then they watched it again. Like, because you pay for the premium service, so now you have it. So it has its ups and downs, but I could totally see them adopting some method like that in the future. And I think that's really the only way to like kind of like make it somewhat successful. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just I think in the end it was a good and bad move for them to do the Soul thing because of Mulan. Like, had you not done Mulan, or if you would have said like $30 extra, like that, like made it like this premium plan where you get the new release content. Like I'm saying, like if you would have said that's the $30 thing, but it's not. They were just
Well,
charging you $30 to just watch Mulan.
with Mulan, though, I think they probably expected it to be a lot more successful than it, and
Oh,
maybe they get
definitely.
now that
Yeah.
like, oh, that's not the case. So
Well, the problem is with that too is it didn't end up being a well received, like just critically and like globally, like
outside of the release or not,
yeah, the reviews for it just weren't very good. Like people just
So the other thing that I think may be playing into this, I don't think we've talked about this part, is you had mentioned that when I talked about this off camera, you had mentioned that there was some blowback for Mulan because they charged this premium fee and then the people don't own it. The people that paid that $30 don't own it. Meanwhile, people that waited, what, 2, 3, 4 weeks and were buying it on VOD now, they do own it. And they're getting all these higher bonus features with it and whatever.
Mhm.
Maybe maybe Disney recognizes that, and releasing Soul is kind of a goodwill move on their part to bring some consumer confidence or some consumer positive feelings back to the streaming service that may have been dinged by the how Mulan was handled.
yeah, no, I agree, and that's where like I think it's kind of like good and bad because as it does kind of show as like a gesture of good faith, if you will, or like consumer friendly. You could also argue that it is very consumer unfriendly because of that. Like because of it's like I just paid for Milan, but now I don't have to pay for this. Like what's going on? Like
yeah,
like because no one's ever happy. You know what I mean? No one's ever satisfied. But
Sure.
especially if you paid for Mulan, didn't really like Mulan, and then find out that even if you liked it or didn't like it at all, but then you find out like, oh, I don't actually get to keep it now. So like that's kind of lame because it's just as much for me to buy it outright here. And oh, cool, I could have got it in 4K for the same price instead of whatever this 1080p is. Blah, like what I mean. So I don't know. I think it was a good move for them to put Soul just on Disney Plus and just do it, hopefully bring in subscribers and everything, but I think it was, like, bad timing. Like, I think if they
Plus,
just didn't do the Milan thing or it wasn't so fresh maybe, I don't know.
so here's something else that I don't think we touched on, is the release day for this is what? It's Christmas Day, correct?
yeah.
Pull back up.
What do people get on Christmas Day? People
Yeah.
get their nice new fancy shiny electronics. They get their new TVs, they get their new stereo systems. This could be a kind of very, in my mind, clever way of, hey, that brand new TV you just got, hey, why not subscribe to Disney Plus and watch the brand new Soul movie that just came out today?
Well, and
You
I'm
know,
sure they're gonna be offering, like, another bundle, like, price thing around holiday season,
sure.
like Disney Plus for 6 months
Sign
or
up for a
year.
year. Yep.
Yep, that kinda thing, or just like when when like I got Apple TV Plus for free for a year for buying like getting an iPad, right? Like you just
Yeah.
It's like with
you can do
Verizon,
something
you
just
get
like that.
the
Yeah, I got
year
Disney
free
Plus.
of Disney
That's the thing.
Plus.
I haven't been complaining about Disney Plus that much because I have it for free through my cell phone carrier right now. So like, but had I had to pay for it, I'd be kind of like I'd be super annoyed because like I haven't turned it on other than watching The Mandalorian. There's been nothing else I've wanted to watch. Like, I wanted to watch Hamilton, but, like, I just haven't had I don't really care that much. Like, I'm not a big song and dance fan when it comes to, like I've talked about this before, so I'm just it don't work for me. So but that's why this would also be another good thing for them because if they have WandaVision coming out, they have Mandalorian coming out at the end of this month. Then WandaVision is supposed to come out what, in November, right?
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully, yeah.
So
End of the year.
they're doing the if it can come out in November, then they're doing what I said they should do with having something new every single for people, like ready to go. Because that keeps like if you have Mandalorian run, then either right at the end of the season or halfway through it, boom, here's a new show. And then right another month goes by, boom, here's Soul. And then another month or two goes by, boom, Winter Soldier, so on and so forth. You do that, it's going to be a lot harder for these people to get it for one show and then stop, and then get it for one show and stop. Because I mean, the good thing for them is that they're doing these releases week to week. So with an 8-episode show, you're getting 2 months of subscriptions out of people, no matter what.
Yeah.
Unless they wait till the very end,
Yeah.
and then get it. But most people aren't going to do that with content like Mandalorian and Scarlet Witch and stuff because they're not going to want to be spoiled on it by other people. So I don't know. It's definitely a good move. I just think it was bad timing because which maybe they were trying to control the narrative because the Mulan news came out and the backlash happened. Like I think the day after, like the day before they released this information. I think, or it was like the same day. They're like, "Oh yeah, and Soul's coming for free." Like, so I don't know, but that's all I have on it. You guys got anything else to add? All right. All right. Well, question is for you guys. What do you think about Disney Plus adding Soul here, going straight to Disney Plus? No, we're not. There is a subscription fee required, but no additional fees required. Do you think that was a good move for them? Do you think it was more of a gesture of good faith? Or do you think it's just something that they're just trying to, control that narrative because of the backlash they got from Mulan? A lot of different reasons that this could be happening. So whatever you guys think, you let us know down in the comment section below. All right, guys. So our penultimate topic here kind of sticks with the movie theater industry and having to adapt and like things like that. We talked about this last week where a bunch of filmmakers and film industry professionals put together a letter to Congress pleading for help with funding for the movie theater because throughout the whole pandemic and everything, not more than half of them, majority of them around the world have been shut down. There's been no new movies coming in for them, so like they're like at more risk now than ever than kind of going away permanently. And with that, Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman, has came out and recently just kind of commented on this, and we're going to kind of pigeon-toe this off of like jump through a couple things here. But I mean, Patty Jenkins is coming out and saying exactly what I was saying like last week, that this will not be a reversible process. We could lose movie theater going forever. So this interview, this is a deadline. If you want to go read the whole thing, and with that, if you go back and watch our video from last week, the theater is not getting any help here because there's just like a lot of different things to come out of it, right? And like we were just kind of talking about in the previous topic, like with the streaming services potentially, like they're doing different things now in light of this, current situation we're in with the pandemic. So like they're Disney Plus is doing the Mulan thing where you have to pay for this, and then some movies are like sold now are going straight to streaming. Like everyone's been having to adapt in some way. And one of the things that I was saying last week was that like a lot of people, because of this like situation, because just human nature, are going to be a lot more hesitant to go back to theaters when they do open, and like there are movies there, even if it is quote unquote safe. A lot of people are going to be used to the fact that they've just been able to get these movies at home, and I think that's kind of what she's addressing with this. Like it's going to be irreversible at this point in time because like people are just like, this is kind of my words meshing first, like people are just going to be used to not having to go out and do it. Like some people out there have realized they don't need to because they'll just wait for the movies to come out and all this stuff. And like we talked about this last week, John, I knew you specifically too, because like you said, you went and see Endgame like 5 times in theaters. You like the theatrical experience, especially with
Love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's an irreplaceable thing. I think everybody can agree. Like some people may not appreciate it much like a lot of other people, but I mean it's not the same to sit there and watch it at home. It's just not the same. So like I definitely don't want anything to change with movie theaters. So I'm hoping something comes of of this, and like they do get the help that they need to like kind of. I don't want to see the movie theater exhibition die. Like I don't want to. So like, but since we already kind of talked about all that from last week, what are your odds now that you think Wonder Woman's still coming out in theaters? This is supposed to come out December 25th because they've already, in light of this, pushed back the Batman to 2022. So this was obviously coming out.
That's
It's supposed to come out in 2021 anyway, right? So this was not like it's supposed to come out this year or anything. They've had some issues on set, and so they've had to push it back. Regardless, they've just been, just like everyone says, these are uncertain times.
They really are.
These are uncertain times. But I mean, they kind of are though, because like I don't know at this point. Like anything could happen. The Batman's been pushed back. Like Batman had COVID at one point. For F's sake, you know what I mean? Like anything can happen these days. Like the movie theaters could become extinct. You know? Like so, what do you think? What do you think about all this coming out? Got anything to comment on this? Am I the only one who's like concerned about it?
I'm concerned about it, but it's just like at this point, it just keeps happening and happening and happening. And it's just like, when at this point are we just movie theaters gonna fly under the radar and not exist, you know?
I don't want movie theaters to become drive-ins.
So here,
Hey, drive-ins are great.
Yeah, but no one goes anymore.
That is
They're
not
dead.
true. Starlight sells out all the time.
Because it's one. There's one. Where's the other one? Where's the other one you're good?
well, and maybe
what I
that's
mean?
maybe that's what this does. Maybe this prompts more people to invest or start building some drive-ins. I can't see, this is such a huge revenue, such a huge business. I don't think you can duplicate the revenue that's generated by the theater going experience
Oh no.
in direct to home video. I just don't think you can do that.
Oh, it can't. No way.
So I could easily see major studios scaling back for a couple years, and it could be that you don't that a lot of cinemas close their doors and do what Cineworld is doing and shutter their door their seat. I can't talk. Shutter
Shut their
their
doors,
doors for the foreseeable future. But then come 2022, they reopen. I mean, maybe they're you have to get. I mean, let thinking about this logically before we ever get back to anything resembling normal, you have to have a vaccine. You have to have people that are comfortable with the vaccine, and you have to see the rate of transmission of the virus go way down. So yeah, you're still looking at probably another year and a half or so before people see that. So maybe theaters, and that may even be a optimistic timeline. So maybe it is, but I just don't see, with it being such a giant revenue generator, that they ever go away completely. You may see a downturn in them for a while. You may see theaters do more inventive things. The theaters where I live are doing things like you can rent the theater out for $100, which I've considered doing, because if I can take my family safely and have some friends and family or some other friends and family that I know go and safely see a movie because it's just us in the theater. Yeah, I mean that feels like that's $100 worth. It's $100 worthwhile to me. The other nice thing that they're doing, I mean, not only can you see movies that they're showing, you can bring your own movies now. They'll allow you to walk in with a Blu-ray of your favorite film, rent out the theater for $100 and watch it on the giant screen with the nice, digital projection and the nice sound system.
I'd be bringing some real weird films.
What?
I'd be bringing some real weird films, some obscure stuff.
So I understand the concern, and I'm concerned to a certain extent. I don't think Wonder Woman releases in December. You already look at what Marvel's done. Marvel decided, hey, look, we're abandoning 2020. 2020 is a lost cause. Black Widow's not coming out in November. We're pushing her all the way back until May of next year. I think Wonder Woman sees the same thing. I think a lot of people miscalculated how long this was going to take to recover from, and how long it would take people to feel comfortable going back, even with the additional precautions and stuff. And I think you're seeing that with these new release dates. And I don't think you see it with Wonder Woman. I understand. I mean, Patty Jenkins and the filmmakers that we talked about last week, this is their livelihood. So yeah, they love movies. I mean, I don't I put my love of movies up against theirs any day of the week. I just don't happen to have their talent, but still,
Right.
they obviously love movies, and so this is a huge concern to them. It's a huge concern to me. I just think realistically, when you're talking about the amount of money that these movies make, I mean, you're talking a billion with a B for movies like Endgame and multiple, billions in some cases. I just don't see how that goes away completely forever just because theaters have to close for a period of time.
Well, I
Um,
think the bigger problem is though is like without them getting any government assistance, because that's the thing. Like they were declared non-essential throughout this, so they haven't
sure.
qualified for any like government funding to keep them afloat through all this stuff. That's like the biggest problem. That's what the like
That's been
letter for
super tough
Congress.
on them.
Yeah, so it's like and this was what I kind of commented on last week was just like these facilities, the movie theaters themselves, just structurally are massive places. Unless it's like a small mom and pop theater, but it's still going to be a bigger building to have a theater in. And these places, especially in California and New York, the real estate value alone is astronomical. Like I forget what the monthly rent on one was in California, but it was something where it was like tens of thousands of dollars a month just for them to have the building, like the rent fee. And like
Mhm.
they're closed. Like
Yeah.
they're getting no revenue.
What do you do in that situation? I
Yeah,
mean,
so
it's
it's like, and
just
that's the problem. Like it's they could be closed, and I feel like in the end, if the movie theaters just closed down, like yeah, and then they could just spin back up in 2 years, people would go. But the problem is, if they don't get help, they're literally not going to be there. You know what I mean? Like, cause like the buildings,
Understand,
like you know what I mean? They get the
but
landowners need
what's
rent, whatever.
but given the current circumstances, what's going to replace them? Retail stores that people don't feel comfortable. Retail's not booming. I just I don't see it being a as easy a death uh death song as just okay, they can't release new movies, they can't pay their rents, they're kicked out, and those real estate owners turn around and turn those into brick and mortar stores or bars and restaurants, which are also hurting. I just, at some point, I think I hate to say it, but everybody's got to come together and everybody's going to share in the cost of what's happening, right? The economic costs that are affecting everybody right
yeah, for
Oh
sure.
yeah, absolutely. That's what I had always pictured. If anyone was going to come in and save the theaters, it would probably be the studios. Like they all
now.
come
Yeah.
in and
You would
like
think.
but I mean, the problem is though, like we were talking about before, like they work on borrowed money themselves. Like they don't have like yeah, they made $2.5 billion with Avengers, but they were getting loans from banks to like, how many other movies did Marvel and Disney make at the same time they were making Avengers? They spent $300 million just to make Avengers, and then they had to market it. So it ended up being like a
Mhm.
$450
If only.
spend on Avengers Endgame, along with all the other movies and people like theme parks and all the shit they have to pay for on a regular basis. Like they don't have that money just like here. Let me Bob
Sure.
Iger doesn't pull out his checkbook and just or maybe he probably could at some point. He could probably finance at least one or two of them out of pocket, but that's just not how it works. So like that's kind of like a problem. And I think like the bigger problem is like where I do like that they at least all banded together. A lot of these major like studios and film industry professionals banded together to at least get that letter to Congress because like it I think the real shame and like the real like downside is that like they've just received zero help because they were deemed non-essential. Like the way
Yeah.
that whole bill was structured, I mean, I'm not going to get political by any means. It kind of rammed them right in the rear. You know what I mean? Like they were like it's not really their fault that any of this happens, but like you're saying, John, like they are far too profitable and affect way too many people. It's like it's a worldwide industry. Like it's not like it's just some like USA thing that like oh it's like a theme park closes down. Is it sad? Yeah, but someone else will probably just buy it when it's good. You know, like
Another theme park.
yeah, like the movie theater thing is just like because the problem is too, at least where I'm coming from with is like I like AMC theaters. If AMC goes under, I can't go to AMC theaters anymore. That means I don't get AMC A list. I can't go and do it. Like someone else is gonna like come and take its place. but there's a reason people have their favorite theaters. Like I like AMC theaters. I don't wanna have to go to like some other theater just because it's there. Like,
You have a little different experience than I do. I mean, where I live, we've had our theaters have changed hands
So does it.
4 times in the past, like, 15, 20 years. So, I've constantly dealt with new theater owners or theater
right.
experiences. Um, so I'm not as brand loyal as you are at this
Oh, I'm
point.
not really
I was gonna say, what
brand
is it about AMC?
Huh?
What is it about?
AMC, well, the one here is like a dine-in, and they have the cinema, the Dolby like Atmos
Oh, yeah.
screen in there, and or sound, and with the big like laser screen and everything.
Yeah.
So like the theater there, and that one, it used to be some other like third party. I don't know the
Rave.
name of it. No, this one was. This is in Anderson.
Oh, yeah,
This
yeah.
yeah, this was so this one used to be something else, but, like, it got actually, no, this was a for AMC, like, built theater there, but then we have another one that was a Showcase Cinema, which is, like, I think gone everywhere now, which I
Yeah.
really like Showcase,
Wasn't
but
bad.
it was fun. But
Nostalgic.
yeah, but then that turned into a rave theater, and then now
Cinemark.
it's a Cinemark theater, and then, I think that's it. So, I mean, I'm used to them turning over, but the AMC one has been my best experience. So that's why, and they have the AMC A-List, which is the best subscription plan for your money. Like Regal
Yeah,
Unlimited is not as good as a plan as A-List is. It's a good plan if you have a Regal Cinema and that's all you have, then yeah, get it. If same with like, I think Cinemark has their own plan now too, and it's like if that's your choice, then get it. But it's not. Neither of them are as good as the A-List plan. And the A-List theaters or the AMC theaters, like everyone I've been to has been a better experience than the other ones I've been to. So I don't. I'm sure there's some out there that are just as good, but it's just not from my experience yet. So that's why I don't want AMC to go under because
Yeah,
I
that
like,
makes
you know
sense.
what I mean?
sure.
But if I wanna go see a movie and the only theater around is a mom and pop theater, I'm obviously going to that theater. Like,
Well, yeah.
I'm going to the theater no matter what. Like, that's not the point. Well, at least when it's safe. You know, like, but I don't know. So I definitely agree, though. I do not think Wonder Woman's hitting this December 25th release date. I think it's only a matter of time before it gets pushed back. I think it's really a matter of time before everybody just gives up on 2020.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I think we're all about there.
Yeah, emotionally, physically, financially, everybody should probably just give up on it.
Mid-October, just call it. Just
Yeah,
it's done.
yeah,
Let's ride out these last 2.5 months
yeah.
and watch The Mandalorian, watch WandaVision,
Yeah, well, at least have those 2 things
turn the
coming out.
calendar.
Yeah. Turn the
Yeah,
and then you can end it all off with Soul, I guess, if you really want.
yeah.
So in the end, Disney's gonna have the best. I don't know what else is coming out because The Boys just ended. Like that, so we just have Mandalorian and WandaVision. Yeah, that's pretty much all we got. I don't think anything else is even coming out.
Nothing.
The Haunting of Bly Manor just dropped on Netflix.
Mm.
Did you watch Haunting of Hill House? Well, it's a good show. You should go watch it. They did like an anthology. It's a horror series, but it's like it's not scary. But none of these movies scare me, so I'm not really a good. I'm not a good lit test because I'm going to tell you no, it wasn't scary. But I'll tell you if it was a good movie. But this was a good show, and then they did a sequel to it, but it's like an anthology thing, so it's not like so it's kind of like American Horror Story in that sense, where they get a lot of the same cast back and thing.
Yeah.
So if you haven't
Oh,
seen Haunting a Hill House, which is weird that you haven't, because it like blew up when it came out. Mike Flanagan wrote and directed the series, and he went on and he directed Doctor Sleep with Ewan McGregor. And
okay.
now he did his follow up. So he's really good in the horror space right now. So you should check that out. But yeah, other than that, what you guys got any thoughts on the Batman being delayed and Matrix 4 being moved
It
up? Just kind of
sucks.
is what it is.
Yeah. I mean,
I
but
knew. I mean, I would have put money on Batman being moved. Um, I'm incredibly, as a huge Batman fan, I'm depressed. I also loved the idea of the Batman movie coming out in October. There's something about Batman in October that just feels right.
it's true.
Um,
I get
Especially
you.
if
but
it has that long Halloween influence, like it's rumored to
exactly,
have. So
yeah,
Very
yeah.
dark as it
So I mean,
is.
I
would've
was,
been nice.
yeah, but I also don't know that we've seen the last of Batman being moved. Now, the one reason I had heard that Batman was moved was because Dune which was supposed to be coming out this year, was moved back to take Batman's spot. And as you're seeing on that article there, this also dominoed a bunch of the other DC films, with Flash being moved back, Shazam 2 being moved back, and
Well, shockingly enough, though, this Matrix movie made like a 4-month jump forward. Like it's
Yeah.
coming out 4 months sooner now.
That's not a bad. I mean, that's like
No,
Put some
that's a
time-
crazy. Like that's a long. That's in the movie world. 4 months is a long time.
yeah.
So like for them to be ready, or like
Mhm.
that means they were like they're borderline probably like they're almost done with them.
You would think so.
Like they have to be. That's crazy because they were gonna have it out in December. Or no, so this is a 6-month jump, right? Or 8 months. My math is too late. It's an 8
From April to December, yeah, 4.
Yeah. Is that,
No, it's 4. April to December. January, February, March, April. That's 4
I'm
months.
the meme right now with Zach Galifianakis and all the numbers coming.
Yeah,
because you got to think it was gonna come out in December, but now
No,
it's
it
coming
was
out
going
in
to come out.
April.
It was going to come out in April. It's now coming out in December.
Okay, yeah.
You're going, yeah.
So I read it
You're
backwards
going
there.
back. Yes.
That's why I was so confused because I initially said, "Yo, it's moving up 4 months," and I look at it and I was like, "No, wait a minute, this is moving up 8 months." Holy shit! Yeah. It is if you read it backwards, guys. It is, but yeah, okay. So yeah, that's 4 months is still a big jump. So I think that's kind of like shocking.
Well, here's the out of all this, the thing that I might be most disappointed in was Black Adam is now taken off the release schedule.
Yeah, there's not
This
even
know.
this Rock Black Adam movie, it just isn't going to happen. As hyped as they got me during DC fandom, I'm convinced this movie is never happening. I've been hearing about this movie. This is the mythical, this is the unicorn of DC movies.
I know.
This thing, I've been hearing about this movie for the past 6 years, and it's just never happening.
It's all talk.
Yeah, talk about a cursed franchise. It hasn't even started yet. I mean, it hasn't even been cursed. It's just like it just hasn't happened. There's just been
Yeah.
no movement on it. It's crazy. And
Strange.
especially after the DC fandom stuff with it, it was like a 4-minute thing, but it was like to me, it was the thing I talked about most afterward. Like as soon as I saw like JSA and Dr. Fate and all this, I was just like, dude, I never expected them to go this deep with this random ass Black Adam movie that I already didn't think was gonna happen. But like now this is real. Like holy shit. And they're going deep with it. That is very disappointing. Very disappointing.
I'm not going to find it because it's all the new news. I was trying to find what date, like when they had originally announced that The Rock was going to play. I feel like it was in like 2015.
I think it was
a
9
long
I feel
years
like
ago.
it's-
yeah.
I literally think
Yeah.
it was 9 years ago.
Jeez. So anyway, that was very disappointing. The Flash, of course, got moved back.
Well, apparently it was September 2014.
Okay.
Gee, that's
So,
still
yeah.
a while back.
I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but that's what this when
That's-
I Google it, that's
That
what it says.
sounds about right. Yeah. So I mean, we're talking 6 years. I mean, it was there. I had hopes that we may see Black Adam show up in Zack Snyder's Justice League at one point because we knew The Rock was going to play it. We knew the movie was coming. I thought, and Zack Snyder's Justice League was still far enough out that I thought, well, maybe there will be a Black Adam cameo. That'll be awesome. And things just have gone at less than a snail's pace with that movie.
I know, man. And like I said, if you guys didn't see the reveal at DC fandom with the Black Adam stuff, like that was legit, like the most hyped thing for me there. Like the whole event was. I mean, the Batman trailer at the end, yeah, you go out with a bang. Like it was good, it delivered. But like everything leading up to it was like, this is cool, yeah, whatever. Then the Black Adam stuff came out, and I was just like, damn, this is gonna be good. Like, it's been so long, you're just teased about it. You hear no information about it. Then you get all these nice visuals, and The Rock's doing the Rock thing. He's all charismatic and shit. And then, boom, pictures of Dr. Fate. And I'm just like, this is going to be good. Oh, okay. That's pretty much it. So I don't got anything else. You guys got anything else on this, guys? All right. Whoa. Again, the question is, guys, what do you think? Are you with me and Patty Jenkins here, or where something something's got to change with these movie theaters. They need to get some help, and not change on their end. They need to get some help because I don't want the theatrical experience to die. I don't want it to go away. I don't want movie theaters that I've come to just love going to on a regular basis. I don't want them to close down. I don't want them to have to be replaced with something. I like everybody's we creatures are we humans rather are creatures of habit. You know what I mean? No one likes change. You know what I mean? I don't want to have my theater that I like going to keep changing into other things, and I don't want that. I just want to go and I want to sit down and watch the damn thing. That's all I want to do. So whatever it is, guys, you let us know in the comment section below. All right, so our final topics here today, guys, and yes, I said topics because there's 3 stories that I kind of felt aren't like super like main topic heavy stuff that we can really like sink our teeth into talk about, but there were some interesting like kind of things that came out that just wanted to kind of give our brief thoughts on, wrap up the show. And first, Ready Player 2, which I didn't know they were making. So this is actually like the graphic novel, like the sequel to Ready Player 1 has been written by Ernest Cline. So and he revealed the plot about it and at the New York Comic Con that just did his virtual event here recently. And I liked the movie. I never read the graphic novel. I don't know about you guys. I thought the movie was pretty good. I wasn't blown away by it by any means.
Yeah.
So I mean, I presume that with Ready Player 2 coming out, like at least coming out in the graphic novel form, that at some point we could probably expect to see a Ready Player 2, movie come out at some point. I don't know the exact details, so I got this article here on Deadline, guys. So if you look it up, read through it, check the New York Comic Con notes and everything to see what the plot's about. Like I said, I'm not gonna get too much into it, but it obviously picks up after the first one. And I mean, what else do you really need to know? If you want to know more, go check it out. Do you guys have any thoughts on? I just thought this was an interesting thing because I
It
didn't
is
know it was being
interesting. I
in
mean,
development. Yeah, I didn't know it was in development. I know a lot of people loved like the original graphic novel Ready Player One, so I thought it was worth talking about here briefly.
Original had a lot of love for it. The original's been out for quite a while too, from what I
Yeah.
know of it. Um, so I don't know. I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. The movie was fine. I will say, just as a side note, um, New York Comic Con is doing their virtual event. It's actually going on this weekend. It's going on as we speak, and I've been really impressed with the content that I've seen coming out of it so far. I've watched probably eight or nine different panels over the past 3 days that they've done. They did one on the boys, a wrap up thing. They've done a few other ones. Anyway, I don't know why San Diego Comic Con was such a bust for me, and this isn't. I think they may be having the lead time to get their really sink their teeth into it and know how to plan an event like this. Seeing how well DC fandom pulled theirs off, they just seem to have a lot more interesting panels this time around. So yeah, go check out the other Comic Con stuff coming out in New York this weekend.
Yeah, I think San Diego got the short end of the stick as they had to be the first penguin, in the water.
Yep.
And like they also got hit with them being the first penguin in the water there. They lost a lot of their content because I'm sure it was probably a lot harder for them to throw something together on a quote unquote short notice, but like all the content that they would need to do, it would be new for like them to do as well, right? Like set up all these panels virtually. So like I don't know. I think they just probably got a short end of the stick, and then like you said with the fandom stuff, like the fandom went over great, really.
Yep.
I thought it was fine. So it's I'm glad to hear. I haven't seen any of the New York virtual stuff yet, but it's good to hear that it's doing better than Comic Con was. Not that Comic Con was like a huge thing. It was just I know it was a disappointment for a lot of people. So. But the other thing, kind of speaking with, I think this may have, no, I don't think this had anything to do with New York Comic Con, but Alan Moore of Watchmen and everything, he did a interview, which is I thought this was this newsworthy to let everybody know because I don't know if you don't know too much about Alan Moore, is like he's a very sheltered individual. He is not someone who he'll speak very bluntly, but, like, and he'll tell you how it is, but he's not someone who's, like, wrapped up in, like, the limelight about stuff. Like, doesn't he just really just pretty much retired from comic books, and he goes on to kind of reiterate that later that he's just, like, kinda done with comic books at some point. So if you wanna read this interview that he did because it's just not something that he normally does, so if you're a fan of Alan Moore and his works, you might wanna go check out the article and just see what he has to say because I again, I'm not going to go through and read this whole thing, and I haven't even finished it myself. And I thought it was definitely newsworthy to let people know that it's out here because this is not something he normally does. So it's always nice to hear from, I mean, people
Alan
like this.
Moore is, I mean, he's one of the top 5 comic creators of all time, maybe top 3, top 2. He may be the best comic creator of all time. Who knows? What he's done for comics in a way has been, revolutionary between Watchmen and some of the other things that he's done. But he's also the old man on the lawn yelling at the kids.
Mhm.
And I think that has hurt the comic industry to a certain degree as much as he's helped it. And so his stubbornness, his refusal to even approach other mediums for his stories and his things, um, as a comic book fan who likes to see it being accepted mainstream, who likes to see the success Marvel has had with their movies, I have a love hate relationship with Alan Moore. But
No, yeah, I could feel that for sure.
but again, he's a brilliant writer, and I'm actually looking forward. I didn't know this interview had happened, so I'm glad you brought it up. I'm interested to read it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, 'cause that's the thing too, like, I remember shortly before the Watchmen HBO series came out, he was asked or something of if he would ever watch it or because it's the Watchmen HBO series was a direct sequel to his graphic novel, not like a retelling of the first of the graphic novel or a sequel to Zack Snyder saying it was actually a sequel to the graphic novel. And, like, he just wrote it off entirely, like, he was completely
Yeah.
uninterested, like, just
And that
man.
was a phenomenal series.
It was
It
great.
had just as much artistic value as it did. It wasn't just it could have been, and it wasn't just an easy cash grab
Mhm.
on their part. And so for him to dismiss it, so that's where that hate part of the love hate relationship comes from. It's like why is he so curmudgeon-y
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
this?
that's a
right.
good way to put it.
So
Yeah, it's definitely odd. It can definitely be very off-putting, like, so, like, I mean, I totally get it. I feel kinda the same way, like, I appreciate kinda like the Mel Gibson thing, right? Like, he's kind of a shitty dude and has done shitty things, but I still appreciate all the good he's done, like, and, like, as far as his acting and directing goes, and it's kinda the same thing, is that he might be like, "Hey, I might not agree with everything he does." I don't know, like in the
yeah.
personally or whatever, but I mean, it doesn't take away from Watchmen, V from the Dead, League of Sword. I mean, he still did all that stuff. Like, I respect that, you know?
Something to be said for, him standing up. I mean, it says in the article that I saw a glimpse at, but he's lost millions of dollars by not endorsing these movies,
Yeah,
he's
I
refused
read that.
profits for millions of
Oh,
dollars.
yeah.
And that's there's something to be said for that. There's something to be
Some
said for
integrity.
standing up, especially in the world we live in nowadays, to have your principles and stand by them so steadfastly. But I also think there's the other aspect of um League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is built off of characters that were created by other people. Now he's taken and put his own spin on them. So for him to just summarily dismiss things like the Watchmen HBO film, I feel like is kind of
It's a
I
bit
don't know. It's
counterintuitive.
yeah.
You could
Thank you.
definitely argue it's a bit counterintuitive, sure.
So
Like, well,
anyway, I've gone on longer than I intended to on Alan Moore,
oh,
but
no, I
but
mean,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely an interesting article that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, no, yeah, because again, like, the main takeaway I got from this was that Alan Moore did an interview. Like, I'm
Yeah.
shocked that he did an interview, so, like, there it is, guys, go look it up, it's on Deadline, so our final thing was just kind of this was almost just as shocking to me, but on a different level. But we're getting another Disney movie, but it's not a live action Disney princess thing. It's not what you would expect it to be. We're apparently getting a Space Mountain movie.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's weird.
I've rode Space Mountain, right? And when I rode Space Mountain, I just kind of assumed like if anything, they would adapt Space Mountain into a Buzz Lightyear ride. That's just what
That's what
always
yeah, you would almost think that.
I just assumed that's what they would have done at some point, was just rebranded it. I don't know, called it Infinity and Beyond or something, or called the Beyond. I don't know, but apparently, I don't know. They made a movie about Pirates of the Caribbean that started out as a roller coaster at Disneyland
Look
too,
how
right?
successful that was.
Yeah, and then they most recently made a Jungle Cruise movie with The Rock and Emily Blunt. So I mean, that's maybe 2 for 2. I mean, the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie was an awesome movie. So the rest of them not so much, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But I don't know. But haven't seen Jungle Cruise yet. I just find this kind of odd. But at the same time, I guess they're roller coaster. It's kind of what kind of world do we live in when roller coaster based movies are more successful than video game based movies?
Right.
What what is that correlation? I don't. That is like a statistic I never thought I needed to know. Like it's really odd.
Maybe we should have been expecting, the world to end up in the state it's in right now when that started happening.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like I never thought about that, but yeah, we literally live in a world where roller coaster movies are more successful than video game movies. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on here? This is going to be the writer is Joby Harold. He most recently wrote the Army of the Dead movie, Zack Snyder's zombie movie coming up, and then he wrote that King Arthur movie that Guy Ritchie directed, which I know why people didn't like that movie, but like it wasn't that bad. It had some cool stuff in it.
I never saw it.
Like I
Didn't
watched
see
it.
it.
Granted, I watched it on a flight, so when you're stuck on a flight and you watch
Anything's
it,
entertaining.
yeah. I mean, maybe I was a little biased and I'm watching it on like this big of a screen, and I'm just like, this is fine, whatever. But what do you guys think of the Space Mountain ride? What 'cause I don't
I
know.
never rode it.
Is there lore behind Space Mountain that I'm
think so.
aware of? Because all I
It's
remember
just a
is
roller
like,
coaster.
yeah, it's just a roller coaster, and I don't remember there being like anything interesting as I was walking through it to get on it.
Other than like I'm on a futuristic roller coaster.
Yeah.
That was at one time futuristic, but now it's like
Yeah, and it's honestly like, do you guys, like I don't know what they call it now. Is it called Flight of Fear now
yeah, that's a Guardians of the Galaxy ride now.
at Kings Island?
No, Flight of Fear. I was thinking of the Hollywood thing at
Yeah, I don't know what you're
yeah,
talking about. At
totally
Kings Island with Flight of Fear, I think it used to be called the Outer Limits when it was
Yeah.
Paramount.
Yeah. Yep.
But it reminds me of that ride. That's what Space Mountain is. It's just like
Okay.
that. Like you sit in a little cart and then I think you take off quick and you're all like an indoor thing and it's dark. It's
Yeah.
honestly a kind of cool ride.
That was a cool ride. I really liked that.
Well, I mean, Space Mountain, same way. It's cool. Like it's fun. I don't know what.
See, I liked with Flight of Fear though. It was like UFOs and aliens.
Yeah, I
and,
know. That's not what Space. Weirdly enough, that's not what Space Mountain.
Yeah.
There's
Despite having space in the name.
yeah, like despite having space in the name, it's not as cool as like Flight of Fear with the UFO. That. So I don't know. I don't really know where. I guess that just kind of leaves it open ended, and you can just do whatever you want with it. I just think it's kind of a cheap way of just using a brand name thing to make a space movie, though. In the end, is probably my guess on what it's going to be. Like, it's going to say this is Space Mountain.
Milking the Disney cash.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's my guess. But you guys have any thoughts on the?
I don't really know what I would think about it. It's just is what it is,
Well, they say it's going to be geared toward a family audience, so
as you would assume.
I'm thinking in the vein of probably the Jungle Cruise movie that's coming out right now is what I guess. Like in the Jungle Cruise movie, the trailer gave me like a Jumanji vibe, like the Rock and Kevin Hart Jumanji. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing probably go that route. Maybe like Lost in Space, the one with Matt LeBlanc
Yeah.
that they did in the 2000s. That's probably where they're going with it, but
That's
probably
true.
probably
Good
good.
one.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. I don't know,
Hmm.
but I don't have any real other thoughts on it other than like I'm just more shocked at the statistic of video game movies versus roller coaster movies now. I'm excited to see how that battle turns out.
Yeah.
We get Resident Evil and Space Mountain are coming, so
We'll see.
it lies with them. So, but that'll do it for us here today, guys. So thanks for watching. And again, here, Rik, where can everybody find you online real quick? We're going to get through these.
You gonna follow me on Instagram at SirRickMet. Follow me for updates on the show, anything like that.
Right, and then John, where can everybody find you?
You can tweet all your hot takes to me at Nightwing_J.
There you go. You can follow me at Sir Rob Bifo there on Instagram, Twitter, whatever you want there. Don't forget, you can submit topics and questions to the show that we will cover email us at honesthanduneducated@gmail.com. That's honesthanduneducated@gmail.com. Look out, in the future, we're going to have some more We Want to Believe stuff coming out. We got some more. We're going to do some live streams, some gameplay stuff coming soon. We got all sorts of stuff coming out here soon. So don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell, do all that fun stuff. It always helps with the YouTube know-how and whatnot. So, but with all that down, that's it for us tonight, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.